Let's get nasty on a Monday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. No Jamie Rivers for the week. The Blues have the week off, so Jamie decided to take the week off as well. Get a little vacation. How's your camera working?
Hey, just Marshy moved it prior to, and it I don't know, something about the start of the show. Just likes to wander towards the door and see who's coming in and who's not. Every day.
Needs to focus on you.
The snake pit loves it. They find it interesting. We love the snake pit.
I like it too. Yeah.
You guys and gals are crazy.
You can always check us out on our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. It's the Air Alliance Team YouTube channel. It is the snake pit. Fair warning, I'm still playing a little hurt today. I may not make a lot of sense. Some of you may feel as though that I never do. That's fair.
It's on par.
It's on par.
Doing a great job. This
would be different. This would be a little bit under the weather, but hey, we'll be fine.
Fighting through.
All right, yeah, fighting through it. But Carey, some big news locally with the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Caw-caw! Caw-caw!
So the St. Louis Battlehawks, the schedule was released, over the weekend, Marsh?
I think it was today.
Or today. So the
big news.
The Battlehawks 2024 schedule. Fans yelling caw on Monday. There you go. The UFL has announced that the Battlehawks schedule for the 2024 season will include, of course, the United Football League. And I think that this is one of the best things to kind of come here in St. Louis over the last couple of years, because it was this organic groundswell for fans.
Yeah, definitely.
We knew that the soccer team was going to be big. Mm-hmm. We knew that people would show up. The stadium was beautiful. We knew that St. Louis was a soccer hotbed.
Right.
We knew the popularity of soccer was going to be there, and the interest was going to be there. And then, of course, City wound up being great. But you don't know how fans are going to react necessarily to a spring football league.
Right.
And St. Louis, as it often does for its own, it showed up. It showed up in droves. The XFL was like, we need to model it, model the teams based on what St. Louis is doing.
Mm-hmm.
It survived the pandemic. We came back for it. And now you've got this merged brand of football. And I still think, at least here in St. Louis, it's going to be popular. I don't know about the viability of it overall, but what do you think?
I agree. I think, fans were clamoring. Marshy was asking me in the hallway, did I go to a Battlehawks game? And I went to one last year, but I actually went to the last one prior to COVID hitting.
Oh, wow.
And so when they were talking about opening the Upper Bowl and how many fans, that was raucous. And then to go to a game this season, it was the same way. It was just... Football here in St. Louis is kind of they have set the standard, I think, for this league, for the USFL and for the XFL. They have reached expectations that I think other organizations, when they're looking at what can be, I think most of those teams are looking at St. Louis and how the fans show up and show out and how it has become, you got your own battle cry, the Battlehawks, everybody is in the stadium, they're dressed up. They're showing such excitement for this league and for these players. And so I think it's a great thing that the Battlehawks will have another season. They will have an opportunity, hopefully, to, make a playoff run here.
Darn right.
Records and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But, I think they have done a fantastic job. I think, again, they have set the standard for the expectation for other teams around this league.
So the season's going to include 43 games total, 40 regular season games, 2 conference championship games, and 1 championship game. Mm-hmm. The league is organized into 2 conferences. You've got the USFL, comprising of teams like the Birmingham Stallions, Houston Roughnecks, Memphis Showboats, and Michigan Panthers. And then the XFL, which is going to include the Arlington Renegades, DC Defenders, San Antonio Brahmas, and the St. Louis Battlehawks, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Schedule involves each team playing 6 in-conference games, 4 interconference matchups, leading to the conference championship, which will see the top 2 teams from each conference compete based on their record. So you have to win your conference in order to play in the conference championship.
It's going to be a good setup. I mean, I think the merger should be fun. the USFL, I actually was able to go to some USFL game a couple of years ago. I went to one of my old coaches was the head coach of the Pittsburgh Maulers. So I was down there in Birmingham for an entire week and got to see how that was set up. And I thought they did a really good job as well. So, I've seen both sides, both leagues, and now that they're merging together, I think it should be really, really fun.
And the UFL has announced that St. Louis will host this year's championship game too. So maybe we'll get a home field championship game for the Battlehawks.
That'd be awesome.
That would be sweet. I wish that they would be the opening game of the UFL. I feel like this environment here in St. Louis would show other fan bases like what it should look like for the UFL. But I guess we'll just have to wait till April 6th. Some people are looking forward to April 19th for some reason. I'm looking forward to April 6th.
Yeah, you are. By the way, have I been saying USFL or UFL?
Well, it was the USFL.
I said USFL because I went to. You said UFL.
I said UFL?
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Like I said,
we got you.
I got the old sick brain today. So
it's okay.
I don't know if just throw it out there. You guys are gonna have to be caddies today. Like, hey, listen,
we'll carry your bags.
Yeah, no, well, you don't. Please don't. I'll carry my own bag.
It's fine.
I'll carry my own bag.
No. You just walk.
I'll just
we'll carry your bag.
If I reach give us
for
a nice
putter,
tip at the end of the day.
No, if I reach for the putter, I'm just saying, if I reach for the putter and I go to tee off with it, just say, hey, guy, hey, buddy, here's the driver. This is the one you need. That's all. That's all I'm asking for
today.
We'll carry
the bag too.
Okay,
we got you.
So I have said UFL.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I'll say it now. we have Darrius Shepherd on today too. So the franchise's wide receiver, Battlehawks wide receiver, will join us at 4:15 after the Gauntlet today. So looking forward to talking to Darrius Shepherd about the upcoming season. The question I think the question that we get a lot is, especially from those that they might partake a little bit. They might dip their toe in to the Battlehawks season. But then, once the Cardinals get going full-fledged, they may kind of forget.
Are we sure?
This season might be different. I don't know. I feel like last year was different, too. Like, last year, the first few months of the Cardinals season was not good. And we had City SC and the Battlehawks battling it out, and they were exciting. And I think it made that first few months just a little bit easier for fans around St. Louis.
You're probably right. I am wondering, though. A lot of people, like I said, a lot of people start to ask, is this going to work? Is it going to be viable? Is it going to be profitable enough to keep going? I don't know.
I think here in St. Louis, they've shown
St.
that
Louis,
it can.
Yes.
It's the other organizations that have to have fans show up. You have to put together something that brings more people and gets more people engaged and wanting to show up to a game. And so I guess we have to wait and see. We'll see how this season goes. I mean, there's a reason that some of the teams from the USFL didn't make it, and some teams from the XFL didn't make it, probably just not drawing enough people to those games. And so you take the cream of the crop, the teams that have a good following. And, the Birmingham Stallions had a really good following down there as well. All the games were played in Birmingham for the USFL. So, obviously, the home team, which was Birmingham, had a lot of fans there. So, they had some good exposure. I think it's going to be a good product.
And you've seen now guys go to the NFL. We saw a couple of guys from the Battlehawks either make practice squads last year in the NFL or was in training camp with
Taylor
teams.
Heineke started for you guys.
Taylor Heineke probably should have started the entire season. Not that it would have.
For the Falcons.
Well, he did. He darn right he did. Yeah.
1 point.
I was talking about guys that played like last year.
I'm sorry.
AJ McCarron, he wound up signing with I think Cincinnati. He didn't go back to Cincinnati when Joe Burrow got hurt.
Yep.
So I think if more players like AJ McCarron decide, hey, I want to do this. He wound up being a great story. If you start to see some familiar names, if you're a big time college football fan and you start to see some familiar names, that I think is a draw.
Yes. Knowing that some of these players may eventually play in the NFL, I think that could be a small draw too. So I guess there's going to have to be a way where you can figure out the timing of it all, because obviously the draft is in April. There's going to be a lot of guys that don't get drafted in this year's draft that probably feel like they should or don't get invited to a camp as a free agent. Maybe if the season was pushed back just a little bit, you would be able to play in that league. And at the same time where mini camps and OTAs are taking place, and then they're still being scouted. Injuries happen, start of the season, training camp. You want to add to your roster. Now, boom, put those guys on the roster. I think the timing of the season may need to be shifted. I know it was earlier for the XFL in the past, and the USFL was, I guess, right around that time in May and June. But figuring out the perfect timing to allow guys that aren't drafted or aren't given rookie contracts to maybe play in that league and then have an opportunity to work themselves to a roster come training camp for NFL teams.
You guys are thinking about how this league will work. I'm thinking about how are we going to stop Abram Smith from running all over the field. I'm already dialed into the X's and O's so far. We need to stop that guy.
That wound up being kind of a turning point game, Marsh. You're absolutely right. Maybe some better run fits that would help. Guys seem to get out of. They didn't have proper lane integrity, gap integrity, so that wound up being an issue. But Marsh, I like where your head's at when it comes to the Battlehawks. You're already thinking X's and O's. All right, there you go. It's the Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We will talk plenty of Super Bowl throughout the course of the day because, of course, hey, it's Super Bowl week.
Is that this week?
It's this week, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Should we play Tech Nine's Red Kingdom?
Yeah, no. Well, you probably want to.
I want to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do people?
You Chiefs fans.
Yeah.
You guys are. You just been over the top the last few years. You specifically for the last couple of weeks have been almost unbearable, Anthony.
For 3 days last week, 2 days last week, I was. Yeah. Now, people were not happy that I was jumping on the bandwagon. I'm sure that changed in my 3 days that I was out, right?
They weren't happy still.
They weren't happy.
No, they're never happy, though. You can't please everyone, Anthony.
I was telling myself a different narrative there.
Yeah, Anthony, everyone thought that you were on a party bender because your team made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And like, oh, he took some days off. He's preparing for the Super Bowl.
I did hear at one point Jamie goes, he's got the brown bottle flu.
He did.
I won't confirm or deny that. I might still do. Because our Chiefs made it, baby. Yeah. Anyways, we'll talk plenty of NFL. Should we expect the Cardinals, though, to make a Bobby Witt Jr. type offer to one of their young stars in the future? I'd be okay with it. ... If ... That's next on 101 ESPN. So, guys, you've heard Jamie and I talk about this. So you heard us talk about having that moment where you're like, man, I don't have the energy that I used to have. I don't have the focus, the drive, the concentration. And you start beating yourself up about it. And you're like, I'm going to fight this aging process. Just keep pushing through. Well, if you have low testosterone, you probably don't know it. Jamie and I didn't until we went to Mentality. And once you get with Mentality's program and you tell them what's going on, actually you tell them what's going on first, then you jump on their program, you start to realize that there's plenty of safe, natural help out there for you to increase your testosterone, get it back to where it should be, where the normal levels are, and you start to feel better again. And it's amazing. Everything kind of falls into place. You start to eat healthier. You start to take care of yourself again. You start to have that focus, that drive, that motivation. Energy is no longer an issue. You get inside the gym. You feel great. You start to see the results. And again, things start to fall into place. But you do have to head to Mentality first. When you do, tell them Jamie and Anthony sent you, or you can visit them at lowtusa.com. It's Mentality. 101 ESPN. Nobody's safe, right? That's one of our key mottos, our taglines here in the Fast Lane. Nobody's safe, including us.
Yeah.
So when text messages come in that absolutely eviscerate us, we like to read them. And when I say us, it's usually me. Marsh, before we get into your Redbirds here, can you read the text message that just came in?
Absolutely. From the 314, it's funny how Anthony craps on anything Cowboy related and is not a fan of Jerry Jones, but somehow has become a Chiefs fan when the Chiefs owner is also one of the key owners who wanted the Rams out of St. Louis so that he can have all the Missouri fans to himself. But then I thought about it. Anthony is not from St. Louis, so he's not loyal to St. Louis because true St. Louis people will not work for anything Kansas City or Chicago.
He's got a point. He's kind of got a point.
I just like Mahomes.
You like championships.
You like Tech Nine.
I love Tech Nine.
Yeah.
They're a great band.
You like Bobby Witt Jr.
I like Mahomes. I sat there on my couch a couple of weeks ago during the AFC Championship game, and I called myself an idiot repeatedly. How could I go against Mahomes? I'm never going to do this again. It had nothing to do with Dallas or Jerry Jones or the Cowboys or St. Louis. It was just, I don't want to look foolish again.
Made a good decision.
So I'm all Red Kingdom this
you
week.
go.
Okay?
Is that why you're sick? You just made yourself sick? Switching teams?
No.
Rooting for the other side.
No, I really enjoy watching Patrick Mahomes, and he's
As
made
you
me look
should.
foolish.
You should enjoy that. He's pretty
I
good.
hopped on that Lamar bandwagon. I fell off and hit every rock on the way down. And as I was
poolside? Right in the face.
Marsh, when I was laying there, face bloodied, concussed, not feeling my best, I looked up to the sky and I said, you know what? I don't like this.
That guy's pretty good.
I'm going to just root for Mahomes now.
Make life easier on you.
I appreciate the text. It was very nice of you to say.
Well, you weren't here. I had the ultimate crap sandwich.
Did you?
It was beautiful. It was glorious.
Do you remember? Can you paraphrase?
I said,
or won't do it justice?
Carey is, I used to think Carey sucked at radio. Turns out he just sucked in the morning. I was wrong. You don't suck at radio.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah, the ultimate crab sandwich, like you said. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We do have MVC men's basketball tournament tickets to give away at some point during the show today. And don't forget, we do have Darrius Shepherd from your St. Louis Battlehawks, who's going to join us at 4:15. Bobby Witt Jr. got himself a massive contract from the Kansas City Royals. And Marsh pitched the idea of, or at least the suggestion of, could we see a young Cardinal star also receive a massive contract similar to the one that Bobby Witt signed? And let me get that Bobby Witt contract for you guys so I actually have the details.
7 years, 148, wasn't it?
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
7 years, 148.
I believe.
I thought it was more than that.
11 years, 288.8 million. So I don't know. Maybe it was a different Bobby Witt Jr. that you were looking up. Maybe his brother or something.
Yeah.
Same name.
Barry Witt.
Same name.
Who I was thinking.
Probably a truck
Saw
driver or
Barry.
something.
It's Barry Witt Jr.
Old Barry.
Barry Witt Jr.
We do need another starter
That's
on
who it
our
was.
fake team.
Yeah.
Barry Witt, our new shortstop. Welcome to the squad.
There you go. Now, Bobby Witt Jr. agreed to an 11-year, $288.8 million deal with the Royals. Could we see a Cardinals player also receive that deal? Here's where I'm at with this. It would be great because you would have earned it, and I would much rather see the Cardinals pay a player for his prime, the years that he's going to be at his absolute best, such as Albert Pujols, for example. I mean, the Cardinals paid him for his prime seasons. And while we all would have loved to see him come back, it didn't work out. He eventually made his way back. The Cardinals still got one of his best seasons. It's like we had his best, what was it, 11 years or so?
Yeah.
And then his best final season. I would much rather see the Cardinals pay for a young player's prime years, knowing that if he takes a bite at the apple at some point, he'll do so at 31, 32, and that team is likely to overpay for that production. But Carey, if we're just talking in generalities, I don't know how psyched I am to see the Cardinals try to do one of these deals in anticipation of a guy turning out to be great. Well, why not just have him turn out to be great and then pay him?
Because then it's going to cost you a whole lot more.
Right.
So,
but maybe you make the decision at that point and say,
they tried that with Albert, and the number got too high.
It did.
And then you let him go.
And you were able to sign Waino and Yachty.
Yeah. And you've been trying to figure out the Cardinal way. Feel like since.
Okay.
It's too much. I'm sorry. I should have put more.
You made the World Series in 2013.
You did. Did they win?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Somebody Big Poppy kept getting pitched to.
Just throw it. Just walk him already.
Just walk him.
That's okay. So Bobby Witt Jr., not Barry. Bobby did. It's an 11-year contract, but he does have an opt-out after 7 years. He can opt out every year from after the 7th year for the next 4 years. So it's 11 years, but if he's playing really, really well and wants to re-up and get more money, obviously he can do that. I don't have a problem with paying young players. I talk about the Atlanta Braves all the time. They seem to be the standard for how to go about that now. How do you do that? Well, you have to evaluate your guys correctly and make sure that they are the players that you believe that they will continue to be for years on to come. Because if not, you just paid a guy a lot of money to not play, or you have to put him out there because you're expecting him to reach the levels that he was already at or the levels that you expected him to be at. Jordan Walker, when I look at him, I don't think that that's an issue. I think he's a young man that work ethic, will and ability to play the game, athleticism, all of the things that you want from an outfielder, from a position player. He has all of the abilities. People will get mad, oh, he stunk in right field. Well, it's kind of hard to be a great right fielder when you just got moved there. So he was learning the position on the fly. He's had an entire season to work on it. He had an entire offseason to work on it. I expect, and you actually saw him much better as the season progressed. You saw him throwing people out. You saw him making plays in the outfield that there was no way he would have made in the first couple of months of the season. So as the season progressed, his athleticism and his ability and his skill set allowed him to be really, really good out there. I think he's going to be even better. So if you have a player that can play the field in the manner in which I expect him to, can hit in the manner in which we expect him to, I don't see why you would not want to pay him early. Now, 11 years for a 21-year-old right now, probably not. I mean, maybe 6-7 years, and you can get him at a good deal and be able to have him secured and locked up and can move on to other pieces of your team and lock those guys up for a few years, and all of those guys be on the same page at the same time.
That's the thing. That's what's interesting. So the Royals do this, right? And the Royals are a small market team. The Cardinals, they're not. I mean, they're a mid-market team that could be a big market team if they wanted to because of the profits that they generate. Okay, I don't want to necessarily play this game where we get into how much they should spend, how much they shouldn't. They're going to operate under a budget. All right, that's the fact. Let's just deal with the fact. Okay, whether you think that they should spend more or not is irrelevant within this conversation. Okay, it's just they operate within a budget. If they were to pay somebody like this, a Jordan Walker, a Mason Wynn, whoever, because they showed enough in their first couple of years, what does that do to their financial flexibility moving forward to build a championship team? How do you surround? It's similar. There's no cap in baseball, but it is similar in some respects to cap sports. Once I make this large commitment and it stretches my budget, yeah, I've got that player. How do I build a championship team around him? So that player, circling back to the Cardinals and this type of contract, the Bobby Witt Jr. contract, will that player wind up being worth it for the majority of those years? I think for the Cardinals, it winds up being too big of a risk. And you're just better off playing it out. Why do you feel like it's a risk? Because you're going to save money in the long run if you do it. I mean, the price continues to go up. Yeah, you drafted him, you scouted him, you evaluated him, you brought him up. He's done great at every level. Hell, he had a 14-game hit streak to start the season. He was hitting the ball well, and they say, oh, you're not hitting it high enough. Okay. That is true. You harp on that a lot. He can't beat the ball into the ground constantly. He's hitting the ball hard. They tell me exit velo matters.
Then they tell me, well, it has to be a right angle for it to
It's
matter.
physics.
Clearly.
We're talking
If that guy
about
wasn't standing there, it would have been a double. He shouldn't have been standing there.
if that guy with the
Get
glove
on the other side.
If that guy with the glove wasn't standing there, that'd be a base hit.
If you hit it hard enough, it's going to get through. And he hit
If you
the
hit
ball
it hard
damn
enough
hard.
and high enough, it's either a double or a home run.
We had this conversation last week, and you weren't here. You weren't privy to it. Old Don Mattingly had something to say about the old launch angle as well.
Donnie Baseball?
Donnie Baseball. And we talked about, I've heard Albert Pujols, I've heard Alex Rodriguez. Those guys hit a lot of home runs. I had to do the math real quick. It was 1,399 home runs between the two of those guys. And neither one of those guys concern themselves with launch angle.
Of course not, because you can't stand there and sit and be like,
why
okay.
in the hell do you send the guy down and tell him he needs to work on his launch angle?
Because there's certain mechanics, there's certain techniques that you can adjust for.
Anthony, take a listen to this.
Okay.
Don Mattingly on the Dan Patrick show last
Donnie
week.
Baseball.
We'll give you a little refreshing.
All right.
The pitch is there and you hit it with the proper technique, it's going out of the ballpark. I don't believe in practicing launch angle because I think that lengthens your swing. And we're seeing a change in the game now. Guys talking about launch angle, pitchers are throwing the ball up. And now there's going to be a weapon of up there, until guys will make that adjustment, either leaving that alone. But I believe in, like, there's a difference in practicing launch angle and trying to get the ball in the air, right? If I'm hitting line drives in BP at 60 miles an hour, that may relate to getting the ball in the air at 95. Because if you're trying to get the ball in the air at 95 or at 60, you're lengthening your swing in batting practice. And now when you get to the game at 95, you're not catching up with that.
Okay, so I completely agree with him. I don't think you should practice launch angle, but he's talking about using certain techniques to hit line drives. If you think up the middle, if you think line drive, eventually you hit your home runs. I completely agree with that philosophy. What Jordan Walker was doing was consistently beating the ball into the ground. It may have been hard, but it was hard into the ground. So certain techniques to try to get him to elevate, separate and elevate. I don't think that's the Cardinals aren't doing their job if they're not working on that sort of aspect of his hitting.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I feel like, but he was getting hits. He still was getting hits. He was still getting on base. I think that matters as well. I don't think Tony Gwynn worried about hitting the ball hard and over the fence all the time, but he had a lot of hits.
Where's my pen? Hold on. I got to do something.
Yeah, you want to count how many hits Tony Gwynn had?
Nah, just got to do something. Hold on.
Little math.
Oh, that wasn't.
Oh, come on.
That was a lame pen. There we go. 232. Carey says Jordan Walker will be Tony Gwynn.
I heard that too.
That's how rumors start.
All right, it's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Why don't we do what's trending next here on 101 ESPN?
Hey, it's Carey, and it's February, and the energy bills, maybe they're a little high. Some days it's really cold, some days it's not. You may need to replace those windows to keep your energy bill at a normal rate. And with Window Nation, you can get 50% off of all window styles and pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. Now is the time to protect your family from the elements, lower your energy costs, and upgrade the look and feel of your home. As I said, Window Nation is giving you 50% off of all windows. Window Nation is a professional installation team that has over 10 years of experience, and they can install your new windows within a day or less. Window Nation's windows come with a lifetime warranty, and they give you a free, no obligation quote that day. And finally, if you're tired of the Frigidrafts, as I said, do not wait. Get those new windows. 0 interest, 0 down. Make no payments for 24 months. Just reach out to them at 866-90Nation or go online at windownation.com. They're a company that will get you together. No obligation, free quote that day. That's 866-90Nation or windownation.com.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The big game is this weekend. That's right. The Blues are back in action on Saturday as they take on the Buffalo Sabres. Pregame starts at 11. Puck drop is at 12. And you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. Super Bowl 58 is also this weekend as Anthony's Chiefs take on Anthony's former team in the San Francisco 49ers. We'll have all the coverage for you starting at 4 o'clock on Sunday, right after the Blues take on the Montreal Canadiens at noon. So make sure you tune in to some hockey and football this weekend. We'll have it for you right here on 101 ESPN. What's Trending is coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
It's time to find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Anthony Stalter and Carey Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, the Pro Bowl was this weekend, as well as the NHL All-Star Game. Did you have an opportunity to watch any of it?
I saw a little bit of the Pro Bowl.
Some highlights on both, but that was it.
65 to 62 or something like that.
Did you see Dan Orlovsky compete in the Pro Bowl precision passing?
No, how'd he do?
Oh, I did not.
He scored a 27.
And
CJ Stroud scored a 26.
Wow.
Baker Mayfield, 24. Gardner Minshew, 21. Geno Smith, 20. Jalen Hurts, 17. And Tua scored a 16. Dan Orlovsky scored better than all of those quarterbacks.
wow.
Sign him up.
Wearing a suit.
That reminds me.
Sign him up.
So when the Pro Bowl used to do this back in the day where they'd have the skills competition, at one point, I think they would incorporate college players too that were about to go into the NFL, if I remember correctly. And I used to write a blog post for the Washington Post, and it was this NFL blog, and various people contributed to it, whatever. And it was an honor because it was Washington Post. And somebody, I can't remember which, it was a Michigan State quarterback. Might have been Jeff. You remember Jeff Smoker?
Yes. I do remember that.
For some reason, I think it was Jeff Smoker.
What a name.
Yeah. Yeah. That wound up having a great performance in either the Pro Bowl or some sort of
event,
college football event, where he had this kind of like Dan Orlovsky. He just put on this show, and somebody just absolutely ripped me for doing a mock draft and not having Jeff Smoker in the mock draft because he had such a great quarterback skills competition.
So
turns out I have been wrong a lot, guys, as you know. Turns out I was right on Jeff Smoker not having a great career.
I don't think did he play in the NFL? He was drafted by the Rams.
There you go.
2004.
Nice. How'd he do?
I don't know.
Not great.
Good looking.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Rams probably saw something in him in that skills competition. Like I said, it might not have been him.
Draft pick. Yeah.
But it does remind me a little bit of that. Like Dan Orlovsky outperforming these guys.
There was one player.
Any given Sunday.
One player in the NHL skills competition that, it didn't look like he was trying. Nikita Kucherov. He was one of the 12 players that was in the skills competition, and the winner received $1 million. And, it didn't look like he wanted to be there. For instance, the stick handling competition, Connor McDavid came in first place with a score of 25.755 seconds. Nikita Kucherov, 44.178. And if you watch the video, Anthony, I think you could have been better.
Just because you believe in my skill set?
Well, and the camp and, everything that we've established here.
It makes sense. Yeah. And, of course, Kucherov was not trying.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of that, too.
Fair enough.
But the question is, like, what do you do if you're the NHL with something like that? Do you just let it happen? Because now he's a villain in Toronto, and all the fans were booing him and whatnot. Obviously, fans are paying good money, probably more money than they would for a regular season game because it's a special event. So they're paying money to watch the best players. And this guy, who is one of the best players in the NHL, just not trying.
Yeah.
Like, what's your thought process on that?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you're the NHL, so you want to show. And you're hoping that you choose certain players that are going to put on the best show for you. But, these are human beings. You can't force them to do anything. So it's just one of those situations where you hope maybe future players that sign up for something like that understand fans are going to pay good money to watch something like that. And if you don't put on a show and you don't care,
don't do it.
You don't do it, yeah. Or else at least your public image is going to take a hit.
I think you see it in all the sports. You see it sometimes in the basketball events where they're doing the skills competition. Some guys really try, and then some guys are kind of in cruise control. So, it's supposed to be a weekend where guys are enjoying themselves. They're having fun. They're all-stars. The all-star weekend. I don't put too much, stock into it.
It's too bad, though. Even so, you know what you're doing.
Right.
You're signing up to be a part of this skills competition. Mm-hmm. What did you think? You were just going to be lackadaisical?
Was he first or was he last?
Oh, he was last.
Was he the first in the order to go?
No, he was not.
So maybe he just knew he couldn't beat the time.
Still got to try. You're competitive.
Do you?
This is a multi-Stanley Cup champion.
Do you know what he did the night before? I don't.
Oh, man. He's probably at least a few deep.
If you went out there and fell down, I could be like, okay, that makes sense.
And then you break your face, and then you're out for the next 6 weeks.
Carey,
I'm just saying.
You're being pretty extreme on this.
They're on skates and they're on ice. I don't know.
So
anything can happen.
The actual All-Star game.
You don't believe that?
I do.
Team Matthews was taking on Team Hughes in the semifinal, and Kucherov was on Team Hughes, and I believe he scored the first goal for Team Hughes. He scored one of the first few goals for Team Hughes, and everyone's booing him. And he played into it. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. So I don't know. Maybe he was just mad that Russia was not a part of the Four Nations tournament that the NHL has going on. That's what some people were saying on Twitter, that perhaps he was trying to stick it to the NHL. Who knows? But at the end of the day, he wasn't the best. And he even said he didn't have his best performance in the skills competition for the postgame. Maybe he was hanging out with Michael Bublé. Who knows?
Hanging
Carey?
Yeah, exactly.
If it's blank you, it's blank me.
There you go.
You know what I mean? If you're sitting there and you're like, blank you, you're actually saying blank yourself. It's a thing. And that's what Kucherov found out last night.
He enjoyed himself.
He messed around and found out.
He did.
He may have enjoyed himself the night before.
I'm sure he did.
He paid for it. At least in public perception. Might not care either. It's Fast on 101 ESPN. Besides Patrick Mahomes, what is the ultimate difference maker in this year's Super Bowl? We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN. As most of you know, I was out sick last week, and one of the things I didn't get a chance to do is go to the Missouri Athletic Club, and that's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy going down there at least Monday through Friday. I won't say every single day, but who knows? Well, weekend, I've been known to head down there with the family and enjoy one of the many events that the Missouri Athletic Club has. But when it comes to my everyday, I enjoy working out. I enjoy talking to some of the trainers and meeting new people that are, coming in and out down there. There's a lot of fascinating folks that you wind up talking to that you wouldn't otherwise talk to. It's part of being a club, right? It's fun. It's fun. It's entertaining. And they've got a lot of things to do at the Missouri Athletic Club. I enjoy just working out and using the business center and things like that. But they've got a slew of things that they have going on monthly, and they always change things up. That's my MAC, Missouri Athletic Club. The Super Bowl is this weekend. Chiefs and 49ers. Our guy Mike Ryder came in and said somebody in the snake pit is just not happy with me today. And one of the things that he was ticked off about, called me a Neanderthal, yeah.
A team-jumping Neanderthal. Yeah.
Jeez.
I like Mahomes.
Now?
Yeah.
You didn't like him 2 weeks ago, Anthony.
I'm sorry. I was a fool 2 weeks ago. Now I'm all about him.
We call that growth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm moving forward, Marsh.
Good job.
Do you want me to not
pick a
root
winner
for Mahomes?
I mean, you'd be foolish. We decided that 2 weeks ago that we would no longer bet against Patrick Mahomes, you and I.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily a Chiefs fan, but they are 1 point or 1.5 dogs in this game.
I don't care what they are.
But I would bet
they're going to win.
Patrick Mahomes. Even though I'm kind of scared.
You know, Carey, it is funny. You just reminded me of something. You also said the same thing I did, which is we're not going against Mahomes.
I did.
Yet I'm getting called the team jumping jerkbag.
I didn't profess my love for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, if you're gonna be passionate, look, why say anything if you're not gonna be passionate about it?
Anthony, the data does back it up. The preliminary lunar analysis certainly favors the Chiefs, according to Jay Kuda. The day of the Super Bowl is a waxing crescent moon, and the Chiefs are 19-1 in the last 5 years under waxing crescent conditions.
I don't even know
They've
what
only
that is.
lost one game, and that was in 2021. So the numbers do bear out that the Chiefs should win this Super Bowl because of the moon. And we go back to earlier in the year when the Lions lost on Thanksgiving. I was the only one to pick them to lose in that game because of the moon, and the moon prevailed.
Marsh is not spitting anything but truth right now. He did. He picked him in our Pick'em Challenge. He picked the Packers in our Pick'em Challenge, and we all
Based
sat
on
there.
the moon?
Based on the moon.
Was I? I wasn't here yet.
No. He read off that little nugget before we went on Thanksgiving break. It was like the last thing Marsh said. And I'm like, he doesn't believe, like Marsh is being funny. He doesn't believe in what he's saying. The guy's talking about the flipping moon and how that applies to football. I'm like, this guy is already on Thanksgiving break. I didn't see what he had been consuming during breaks.
Okay.
This guy right now is a lunatic.
You checked out.
Like, there's no way he's going to pick the Lions in the pick and pull. And then as I'm watching this game unfolds, I'm like, hot damn, that moon was correct. I wonder if Marsh bought it, and he did. He picked the Packers.
So the moon is what we're going to go with.
19-1.
All right.
The biggest impact other than Patrick Mahomes.
You heard my tease. Marsh just landed it. I also think the 49ers defense is a problem, guys. It's a big problem.
We've given up a lot of points in these playoffs.
Carey, I don't think it's anywhere close to what we thought it was going to be or what previous renditions of, is it renditions or editions? Previous 49ers defenses.
I think it's rendition.
I think it is
It's like a new thing, a new rendition. Like you think of a song, doing a different rendition of it.
Bobby, Ronnie, Ricky, and Mike, though.
Yeah. Anyways, this version of the 49ers defense, not anywhere close to what we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
They've got one pass rusher. It's Bosa. Their secondary can absolutely be had. I don't think their run defense is very good. I think not only did the Lions expose that until they started to fall behind, they panicked a little bit, and they put the ball on the ground, but the Packers exposed it too. I didn't think the Packers were going to run the ball effectively like they did against Dallas. They did. Mm-hmm. I think this San Francisco defense is vulnerable, and I think that with the way that, they struggled after they put up the 17 against Baltimore. Baltimore made some adjustments in the second half, wound up being a big issue for the Chiefs offense. But I don't think this 49ers defense is going to have the same success.
Do you feel like that they changed? Haiwafunga got hurt earlier in the year. Do you feel like that defense changed a little bit when his injury happened, safety for the 49ers? They just kind of changed the I guess, mindset of that defense. Sure. Not as aggressive, I won't say not as aggressive. I just think that they have given up so many points in these playoff games early. Like, they're getting punched in the mouth first. They got punched in the mouth first against the Packers. Should have lost that game. Got punched in the mouth over and over again against the Lions. Definitely should have lost that game. And it's hard for me to believe that if you give Patrick Mahomes that runway and you give them a 17-point lead before you decide to enter the game, that team won't give it up the way the Lions and the Packers did the last couple of weeks.
I completely agree. And if the Chiefs can run the ball, we've seen. Let me take a step back here. Andy Reid is stuck with the run. Mm-hmm. That has not been. It has not been a situation thus far in the playoffs where the run is humming and he just says, "I'm tired of this. Let me go back to Mahomes." I think that Mahomes and Reid have at some point got together and they said, this is how we're going to win football games moving forward based on the current roster that we have. And you have to work with the receivers that you have. You can't change things up. And the results have been very good. So if they can get Pacheco going, again, no reason to think that they can't based on what San Francisco's run defense has looked like in the playoffs and the way Pacheco has looked, it's going to open everything up. So I really think that Kansas City is I think I said 31 last week. I think I was probably over my skis a little bit. But I could see Kansas City scoring 27.
Yeah, you talk about sticking with the run. These 3 playoff games for the Kansas City Chiefs, they had 34 runs against Miami, 24 against the Bills, and then 32 last week against the Ravens. They are not shying away from running the football, handing the ball to Isaiah Pacheco and allowing him to go to work. He had 24 carries last week, and the Baltimore Ravens running backs had 6 between 2 of them.
You talk about abandoning the run.
They definitely, Lamar Jackson led the team in rushing and carries. They definitely abandoned it, where the Kansas City Chiefs said, no, this is what this style of game is going to be. Isaiah Pacheco had 24 carries for 68 yards. Not killing people. Just 2.8 yards a carry. You look at those numbers like, this is terrible. Mm-hmm. But you're possessing the ball longer. You're keeping the ball out of your opponent's hands. You're eating up clock. You're gaining first downs. You're getting, putting yourself in a position where the down and distance is a little bit better. So I think they've done a great job this whole entire playoff run of running the football. That's one of the things that we talked about when Eric Bieniemy left. With Andy Reid, would they be able to make a decision to run the football consistently? And if they do, they have a chance to win games. And that has had to be their recipe now. Like I said, it hasn't been to the tune of 100-plus yard games by Isaiah Pacheco, but it is effective because they are keeping the ball out of their opponent's hands and they're moving the chains.
That's Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie's off all week, but eventually we'll have the complete Fast Lane for you. Eventually. When Jamie gets back off the road, then he goes to more Blues games. But we look forward to seeing our pal again and hear all about the inner workings of, where is he at, Mexico?
Yep.
He's having fun. In fact, we're already getting text messages and pictures and things like that from Jamie. He's a fun follow on social media if you want to see like the latest Speedo that he's got rocking, although I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen a photo yet.
It's early in the week. No, I haven't.
Is that like I thought he usually unveils it. Maybe we should ask our guy Jamie Speedo on the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. Like when typically, what do the trends say? What does the moon say about when Jamie breaks out that Speedo? I say it's earlier in the week, but
I'm thinking maybe like Wednesday, hump day. That actually makes sense.
That actually does make a lot of sense.
You're making a lot of sense today, and that's just one more thing that you're making sense about. Does it matter where Cody Bellinger signs as long as it's not the NL Central? Hey, did you guys talk about the Corbin Burns?
Yeah, I read your text message as well.
We have got to get into that, too. So it's all a little Bellinger and Burns and the NL Central next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, now, kid, we all know that the moon is not made of green cheese. But what if it were made of barbecue spare ribs? Would you eat it then?
What?
I know I would. Heck, I'd have seconds.
.303, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Carey Davis and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Does it matter where Cody Bellinger signs as long as it's not in the NL Central? Let me ask you guys this. I know that the Cubs are probably our biggest concerns when it comes to Cody Bellinger, but wouldn't they have already re-signed him? Wouldn't he have decided?
What is he waiting on? I mean, right. I guess it's a couple of guys that are still out there waiting around. A couple of pitchers.
Blake Snell.
Yeah. Yep. Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah. So those two guys are impacting their own markets, but Cody Bellinger.
Him up? Yeah. Maybe it's the term, the length of a deal, or maybe, I don't know.
Maybe he thought he was going to get more, too, and his market just hasn't materialized.
Do you think that some of these teams just wait so the player's number eventually just goes down? They're like, we don't really need you, but if your number's right back in, or, near March, yeah, we'll toss you a contract.
Yeah, and potentially. Without, I haven't seen anything on Bellinger. Like, there's been little to no conversation. Like, there might be a blurb here and there about what some writer thinks Cody Bellinger might sign for, or who might be interested, but it doesn't seem to be this explosion of a market where he's got multiple suitors and everybody's pursuing him. I don't know. It's interesting. But when it comes to the NL Central, I had texted you guys this last week. I
thought it was hilarious.
When the news broke that Corbin Burns was being traded to the Baltimore Orioles. If you're the Cardinals, I mean, let's just be real about this. The whole goal, we have joked about it, but the whole goal has been just win the NL Central, because if you win the division, you get in. Mm-hmm. And then if you get in, you've seen. Now, I'm not saying this. This has kind of been the Cardinals' loose philosophy. If you get in, you saw what happened in 06 and 11.
Anything can happen.
To me, that is no measuring stick when you play in the NL Central.
You're wrong, because it's clearly the only thing that matters.
You're right. You're right. My mindset on this is probably wrong. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But let me state it anyways, and then you can tell me how wrong I am. All right? I won't even fight back. But if your measuring stick is to win a division, or typically only one other team is trying, that's not a high bar. I believe Janet last week or 2 weeks ago, she said it perfectly in a mic drop. I talk about a hurdle to clear. It's a low hurdle. She goes, it's a crack in a sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's how low it is. You have
Is that
one team.
Our fault? Is it our fault that the other teams don't try as hard?
Let me answer your question directly. No.
Okay. So whose fault is it?
I'm not saying it's anybody's fault.
So why spend more money if you don't have to?
Oh, because you're trying.
I'm trying to tell you here. Listen, when we're talking about the Cardinals, we're talking about how great this organization is. And if we don't have to spend money, Anthony, we don't spend money. There's not a need to overspend when you, as you said, to your point, other teams aren't even trying. So why the hell do we need to? We just do what we need to do to win.
Can you guys explain? I was gone last week for most of last week. Can you explain the glasses thing to me?
Yeah, it's my rose-colored glasses.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, when we have those on, we see things perfectly from the Cardinals' perspective.
Okay, got it. Got it. That makes a lot of sense.
It's like the Emperor in Star Wars. He says, execute Order 66, and all the clones just start, going after the Jedi. He's like, execute Order 314, and Carey just starts pumping up the Cardinals for no reason. Like, there's like a computer chip in his brain that just completely changes his whole mood.
You set me off. You said they're not trying. They are trying. They're trying in their division. Just get in.
Did you hear any of what Marsh just said?
Yeah. He's right.
I'm pretty sure he broke down the plot of some movie that I've never seen.
Yeah, so I had a chip in my brain.
But that was really detailed.
Yeah, I had a
Was
chip.
it The Matrix?
Yeah,
It's Star Wars.
What is it, Star Wars?
Episode 3.
Never
Revenge
seen
of the
it.
Sith.
I don't care whose revenge it is. I've not seen it. I don't know why I sounded like Bill Clinton there. I have not seen it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Anthony, you want the Cardinals to try hard, and everyone else isn't in their division.
I want
So therefore, all we need to do is beat up on teams that aren't good enough or aren't trying hard enough. What team in the division has done anything worthwhile this offseason?
Exactly.
Exactly. You're making my point. You seeing my point? Yes. That's what I'm saying. Cody Bellinger doesn't return to the Cubs. Good. Not our problem. Don't have to face him
Let me
as much.
rephrase.
Oh, okay.
Let me rephrase.
Okay.
All right. Carey,
Yes, sir.
would you say the Cardinals want to win a World Series?
Yes.
Okay. You would have to have a roster
They got a roster.
necessary to win a World Series, like a World Series contending roster to win a World Series, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I understand you can't compete spending-wise with the top teams in the league,
Correct.
right? You can,
But you choose not
but
to.
you choose not to. All right. Wouldn't it make sense to get as close as humanly possible to those teams within your budget so that you have a contending roster?
No.
I knew the no was coming. I just didn't know what question was going to be. It was going to be that
No.
one. Okay.
Why? Are those teams that you're referring to in your division?
No.
Okay, then. Well, all you got to do is win and get in.
Oh, boy.
If you win, Anthony, we
You are
have been
too-
through this.
You got the Revenge of the Sith going on here, man. You're too far gone.
We have been through this. If you get in, anything is possible. Now, if you just told me that 3 of the teams in our division ain't trying,
Yeah.
it sounds like an easy pathway to get in.
I can already see his eyes are glowing yellow right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. Trying to think of another way to put this to Carey.
So you don't think
The
they got
ultimate-
enough?
I think that they have enough probably to win the division.
Well, what more do you want, Anthony?
I want them to look at the roster and say, hey, we know we're not going to spend
Get to
the
that
level.
when you get to that.
They never do.
Well, hell, I don't know what to tell you.
Because they're so consumed with, well, all I have to do is win the division. These teams aren't trying.
Did you think
The
the
Brewers
Diamonds?
just traded their best player.
Did you think the Diamondbacks were going to make it to the World Series
Okay.
last year?
No.
Okay. But they got in.
Do you have 3 good pitchers? Because that's what the Diamondbacks had,
You hush your
including an emerging ace
Anthony, it's
that
like
you used to have.
it's like wanting to win a Grammy, right? You know, we had the Grammys were on. It's like wanting to win a Grammy, but you're putting all your music out on SoundCloud. And then you start working at 101 ESPN.
Was that your career path?
All right, what do we got coming up next?
Was that your goal, Marsh?
No, it wasn't.
At one point, sure.
Ah, come on.
I mean, you thought about it.
I mean, it was tickling my brain for a little
Come
bit.
on, right?
It would have been cool.
You're sitting there. Where'd you go? North Dakota State?
Oh, yeah. No, not state.
Just North Dakota.
Just North Dakota.
So there you were at ND. And you're-
UND, yeah.
UND. I was just going to give you the ND. I'll let people figure out whether or not it's Notre Dame or not. But you're sitting there at UND knowing that you've got the lyrics
Oh, yeah.
to a pretty catchy rap. I mean, part of you must be thinking as you stare up to the clouds.
Yeah.
What do they drink up there? What beer? Molson Canadian?
No, they have some Hams beer, which is terrible, but
I don't want
you
ham. I don't want ham in my beer either.
you got to go with old Bush Latte.
Okay, a little Bush latte.
Bush latte.
So there you are. You're looking up at the cold UND sky.
Smells
Nice.
like McDonald's fries.
Of course
and
it does. And success.
Yeah.
You're drinking a nice cold What was it?
Bush Light. Bush Light.
Oh, Bush Light. That's
a little Bush latte.
Yeah, a little accent onto it. I got you now. I got you. And you're thinking to yourself, boy, one day I can win a Grammy.
Maybe.
Yeah. I can picture it right now. Hey, we're 101 ESPN.
Hey, we got one song on the airwaves.
Yeah, we do. Somebody was asking for your
They were.
Play it.
No.
We have your chance to win a pair of single session passes to the 2024 State Farm Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Tournament. It's the return of Arch Madness at the annual MVC Tournament, March 7th through the 10th at Enterprise Center. All session and single session tickets are on sale now. All caps on that one, by the way. Now, Carey. You can text into the Air Comfort Service text line to score passes to Arch Madness right now at 314-399-9646. All you have to do is answer the question. If you're listening earlier, you know who's coming up at 4:15. We have a special guest. Who is it? Who's coming up at 4:15 in studio with us? We mentioned earlier today in the show. If you know the answer to that and you're the 101st texter at 314-399-9646, you can get those passes. You can score those passes to Arch Madness. And you can also learn more about the MVC tournament and register to win tickets at 101ESPN.com or the 101 mobile app. It is one of the most fun events of the year in St. Louis. We participated a lot when we used to carry the tournament. And, hell, we used to do some broadcasting, too. Be like me and Randy. I had no business calling basketball games, Carey. Yeah, and people told me.
Those people are rude.
I was basically the pass it to the man guy. Mm-hmm. The boom goes to dynamite.
Oh, goes to dynamite.
That was me. Yeah, pass it to the man. But the tournament is incredible, and I know a lot of people go to it. And if you want those tickets, again, check it out. Send in the correct answer to the Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646. How long should a retool take in sports? Kind of an interesting question. We'll get to that next on 101 ESPN. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Anthony Stalter. I completely forgot that we were talking about Marsh's burgeoning radio career. Not just radio career. I mean, we could talk about that too. But his rap career.
Yeah.
That our very own Carey Davis has a rap too.
Oh, I don't rap, I sing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's a distinct difference.
There's a difference.
Okay. Guys, listen. I was out all last week, okay? I was dealing with some stuff.
We're glad you're back.
Bad fever.
Oh, yeah. Healthy, though. Ish.
Maybe. Yeah. No, but yeah, you were singing. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking that you guys collaborate on something.
It could happen.
Maybe a Fastlane rap. You tell me the Snake Pit wouldn't want to see that? Tell me our 101 ESPN listeners wouldn't want to hear that?
I think they would.
Mm-hmm. I want you guys making love to their ear holes with a new song. by the end of the month.
End of the month.
Okay. How long does it collaborate?
Well, it depends.
Collaboration takes.
Some people can write a song in a day. Some people it takes maybe a week or two.
Okay.
How much time we got?
I'll give you some time.
All right.
As long as a retool takes. That's a transition. How long should a yeah, like that.
Good job.
I might have the old fog brain going on right now, but you know what? I can still transition with the best of them. How long should a retool take in sports? Like the one, for example, the Blues are currently undergoing.
So when did this retool start, in your opinion? Was it when they traded Tarasenko and O'Reilly at the trade deadline of last year, or?
First of all, I think that's a great question. So let's back up and let's talk about when the retool started. If I'm, and I could be way off on this, Doug Armstrong would know, I wouldn't. But if we were to look back and say, all right, what was the goal going into last year? To me, the goal was make one last run with the current group. And if the wheels fell off and it didn't look like Doug Armstrong had a contender at the deadline, he was going to have to be logical and practical about it and move the expiring contracts that he had on the roster for future picks, players, whatever, future assets.
Right.
And that's the second thing is obviously what happened. But the retool to me started at the deadline last year when he said with his trades, this is not a contender. Even if we go on to some magical run, we're unlikely to have a sustained run. It's more practical for me to trade off those pieces, acquire draft picks, which he did, acquire guys like Kasperi Kapanen, like he did, and Jacob Verana, and go about it that way with the current players that he has on the roster and kind of fill in the gaps. This is not a rebuild. A rebuild is, almost tearing it down with the studs and starting fresh with really young players. The retool started at the trade deadline last year.
Okay, so looking at it from that viewpoint, I would say by the trade deadline next year, this team should be making a push for the playoffs. They should have they shouldn't be a wild card because they're a wild card right now. They should be a 2 seed or pushing for a number 1 seed. That's where the team should be next year. Now, with that being said, they probably don't win in the playoffs. So for the retool to be complete, that's 1 year, 2 years so 2 years will be next year in the trade deadline. And then the following year, for me, 3 years where you actually have the team that had a 2 seed and was able to make a playoff, enter the playoffs, but got bounced maybe early. But that third year, same position. Now maybe you're a 1 seed and you're poised because you have the bad taste in your mouth from the previous year where you didn't have the success. All of your players are a year older. The younger guys are probably in their second or third year of their career. And then the older guys are well established. So I would say 2026. Is that 26? That put me at 26. Is that right math? Correct math?
Yep. So not next year?
24. Nope. This year, no. Next year, playoff push
is 2026.
Would be the year where I say you are in the position to have a team that could win a Stanley Cup. That's how 3 years for me. would be right along the time frame from the time you traded those pieces and decided it was time to move on from O'Reilly, Tarasenko, and Barbashev and all of those guys. Now you've put yourself, like you said, via draft picks, and you're getting guys coming up. Kessel is coming up and playing. Perunovic is playing well. Jake Neighbors is playing well. At some point, maybe this year Snuggerud shows up, and then maybe next year, or in 26, Dalibor Dvorsky is there. So you have your young guys who are second years established in what they're doing, and then you have your older guys who are veterans at that point and can be leaders of the organization, leaders of the team.
Where are you, Marsh?
Is it better to do a retool or a rebuild? Let's say both fail, right? So you're doing this retool and you don't get to that 25-26 season in the spot that Carey just described. Would it be better to be in that situation to just keep retooling on the fly, or would it have been better to sit down, lay out a blueprint, and just rebuild the team and take that amount of time anyways?
Yeah.
Going forward.
So what were your options, right?
I think the retool is better based on the talent that you still have available.
Right.
A rebuild you would not want to watch this team.
Right. You're breaking
be so
it down.
many, man, all the young players and all of their flaws and faults. And then I think it's harder when it's a rebuild because yeah, they're getting experience, but are they playing the game the right way? Are they playing meaningful games? When you're getting your butt kicked over and over and over again, you create some bad habits, some things that kind of linger when you're trying to be a really good team. And I think that would be what was taking place. So the retool for me made more sense.
There's also the question of did you have an opportunity, a real opportunity, to do a rebuild last year? Could you have traded off the players necessary to do a full rebuild? And I think the answer is no. And somebody will counter and say, well, whose fault is that? I completely agree. I realize that. But again, it still comes down to, could you have moved those contracts necessary to create a rebuild situation?
Well, are they in the spot right now with their retool because of the contract situations that you just mentioned? Can they even be in a retool with those contracts? Like what happens if you move forward and those guys are still not producing the way you want them to, and so you're kind of back to square one?
Well, whether you do a retool or a rebuild,
right,
you better hit on the players that you're banking on. I think that's the point you're making, right?
Is there somewhere in between a rebuild and a retool, or is it just all considered a retool?
I think a retool is when you're using a lot of the same players, but you're filling in the gaps like the Blues have. The Blues, Doug Armstrong made it work with guys like Kevin Hayes and Kasperi Kapanen and whoever else he's acquired, whether it's a young guy or moving guys up and down from the lower affiliates. I think that is essentially a retool, but you're still banking on the guys like, in this case, Jordan Kyrou and Braden Shen, Robert Thomas, Colton Parayko, guys that have contracts. That's what a retool is.
Right.
Now, if those guys don't pan out, it's not going to matter. We could call that. We can call whatever we want. It's going to be a failure. Yeah, that's what we'd call it. Honestly,
the veteran guys being those Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou 2 years from now, and Colton Parayko, those are the veterans. Those are the guys, Braden Shen, and those are the guys that have to, get those younger guys caught up to speed. That's the only way that the retool actually takes place, and it takes place in a way in which you can win games. Is by 25, 26, you are in position to be a Stanley Cup champion. Now, whether or not you win is one thing or another, but you're in a position to be in that spot at that point.
What are the Cardinals in right now? Are they in a retool?
Yeah.
Is that what you would consider this a retool?
Yeah. Because you've got Arenado, you've got Contreras, you've got Goldschmidt. Like, you're paying those guys.
Do you think they consider this to be a retool?
Right now. I think that they think that they're always competing, that they're never going, that it's always going to be a retool, that they're just retooling the roster
or
every
refining it.
Refining.
Reload's a good word.
Yeah, reloading. We've talked about this before. Will this fan base support a full rebuild? Should they have to? That's probably the better question. Should the Cardinals fan base have to go through a full rebuild? I don't think they should have to.
They don't because there are too many. They've done a really good job position-wise of putting people that need to be here. Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn, prime examples. Lars Nootbaar, Nolan Gorman. Those guys are younger players that are going to be really good for the foreseeable future. The issue has been the pitching. They got older with the pitching staff that they brought in.
Right.
And you would hope that they would have gotten, younger. But maybe some of these younger guys, spring training, get an opportunity, and they can make the ball club and have an opportunity to pitch, whether it's in a relief role or find somewhere where they're starting. It's always injuries. Somebody's going to get injured. You don't hope for that, but you prepare for it.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to get banged up and have a nagging injury. Hopefully that doesn't linger too long, but maybe one of those younger guys get an opportunity and can help speed up the process in that area.
That's Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, and Anthony Stalter. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. I don't know if we have a winner yet for our MVC tournament tickets. Andy from the Snake Pit just won. Andy from the Snake Pit, congratulations, because Andy knew that we have who coming up, guys? 4:15.
Darrius Shepherd.
Darrius Shepherd, that's right. From
your St. Louis Battlehawks.
There you go. So congratulations. Going to go see the MVC men's basketball tournament, which will be held on March 7th through March 10th at Enterprise Center. So we'll have tickets, by the way, to give each and every day throughout the course of the Fast Lane. So if you missed out on your chance today, don't worry. We'll have other opportunities for you throughout the course of the week. Let's talk about Brock Purdy. You guys believers? I mean, obviously not more than Patrick Mahomes.
Never.
Of course.
No.
Not going against that guy. But how much do you believe in Brock Purdy when it comes to the Super Bowl? We're going to get into that next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues will be back in action on Saturday, taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Pregame starts at 11 o'clock. Puck drop is at 12. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We just talked about the Blues and how long should a retool take? If you missed that conversation, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page. You'll find all of our interviews and full shows there, and it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Speaking of interviews, we'll talk with Darrius Shepherd of your St. Louis Battlehawks at 4:15, so stay tuned for that. Once again, Blues back in action this Saturday. They'll also take on the Montreal Canadiens on Sunday, and then following that game is Super Bowl 58. We'll have all the coverage for you right here on 101 ESPN. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, independent American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Super Bowl Sunday, right around the corner. Chiefs, 49ers. One side is very clear. You got Patrick Mahomes. Last time these two teams met, which really wasn't that long ago, it was only 2019. It was the year before COVID struck.
Yes.
You had same matchup, different quarterback, though. You had obviously Jimmy G, you had Jimmy Garoppolo. How much faith do you have in Brock Purdy to pull this thing off? Even though we're all like Mahomes, we're not going against him, all that stuff. Just for sake of conversation, how much faith do you have in Purdy?
I think you should have faith in Brock Purdy. He's done a really good job this year. I think the narrative of is he elite or are the players around him elite, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's doing what's needed to be done for his team to win games. They got great players. Deebo Samuel should be completely healthy for this game. He played in the NFC Championship game and played well. So, you got your full cast of characters able to get out there and do their job. Brock Purdy just has to not turn the ball over. Mm-hmm. And he showed something last week, 2 weeks ago, where he was able to actually extend plays with his legs, something that I don't think we saw much of throughout the entire season. But those were big runs at big times, and he made some big-time plays. So, all in all, I think it's going to be a really good game. I just think that at the end of the day, again, we made a pact not to bet against the guy over there in Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes because he's done such a fantastic job throughout his entire career.
Carey, I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like Brock Purdy almost had to start running. Mm-hmm. Brock Purdy, despite fitting perfectly in this system for Shanahan, and I don't, by the way, regular listeners, as my mic gets away from here, regular listeners know that I've stated this. I don't think that Brock Purdy should be what he's done in Shanahan's offense. It should all count. Mm-hmm. Quarterbacks don't. Yes. They're not all Mahomes. They're not Josh Allen. They're not Lamar. They're not Joe Burrow. They're not Justin Herbert. There's going to be levels of quarterbacks. This one fits perfectly in Kyle Shanahan's offense. In fact, there was a report, and I remember our buddy Nick Wagner, who covers the 49ers for ESPN, also having something similar when Purdy emerged on the scene last year, saying that Kyle Shanahan, there's rave reviews. He had rave reviews for Brock Purdy in training camp last year.
Right.
You can go back and read through it. Well, apparently he knew that Brock Purdy was eventually going to be the starter. That was with Trey Lance still there. That's what trading up for Trey Lance. Shanahan knows what he's doing. Yeah. He sees the skill set there for Purdy and how it matches up perfectly with his offense. So I don't think that Brock Purdy should be knocked just because he plays in Shanahan's offense with those pieces around him. But the fact remains that he is still a limited quarterback. I think both things can be true. And when I say limited, I mean he has limitations.
In what way?
I don't think he has the strongest arm.
Okay.
I think he has a good enough. I think he has a strong enough arm, but I don't think he has an elite arm. I don't think he has elite athleticism. I don't think he has, how tall is he? He's not your prototypical quarterback. He's not the size aspect. He's not your prototypical quarterback. We have seen quarterbacks win in all shapes and sizes. I don't necessarily care about that, but you do have to say at least, hey, there are times where he's going to get passes knocked down at the line of scrimmage because he's a little bit shorter, and he's going to have to move a little bit.
Yeah.
So when you saw him struggle 2 weeks ago in the NFC Championship game, or the previous week against Green Bay, I think when he started to come alive a little bit is when he started to move around. He started to use his mobility as a way to overcome some of his limitations. I think that same Brock Purdy is going to have to be on display again in the Super Bowl if the 49ers have a chance here. And obviously have a chance, but...
Yeah, I think get the ball to your playmakers as early and often as possible. And if a play does break down, then you do have to be able to move your feet and get some running room. I just think he's done a great job of doing whatever is asked of him. And I think everybody is so caught up on, is he elite? Is he an all? Who knows? I mean, he's only in his second year as a starting quarterback. He's played, I think, 20-some-odd games. He played 5 his rookie year and 17 this year. So, he hasn't played a lot of games to be able to break down and decipher who he is. But this is a big game. And he was actually, had he not gotten hurt last year, they probably make it to the Super Bowl. Who knows? But he has an opportunity this year, healthy. And I think he does. I don't think the pressure is going to be on him from Kansas City to the point where he's unable to make correct reads or get the ball to the people that he needs to get it to. I just think he's done a fantastic job of being steady, poised, not panicking. He does not look like a second-year quarterback, in my opinion. He just looks like a guy that is confident and comfortable, and that comes from Kyle Shanahan putting that, allowing him to run plays that he has success with. And when you got Christian McCaffrey behind you, and you can hand it off to alleviate some of that pressure, or you can dump it off to him because he's going to catch the ball out of the backfield, it takes away a lot of the stress and a lot of the worries. He can throw it to these guys, and they're going to make plays for him.
This is the best defense, though, that he's going to face since Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. He got smoked against Baltimore.
Absolutely. That if I'm the 49ers, that's not that it's in the back of my head or anything like that. How about this? I'll rephrase it. If I'm a 49ers fan, that is the thing that concerns me. Mm-hmm. Because Green Bay, as well as they played defensively in Dallas, that was still a defense that was susceptible to giving up big plays. It's one of the reasons why Joe Barry got fired. They knew they could probably, with the talent that they had, they could do better from a coordinator standpoint. So he was let go after they lost to the 49ers. The Detroit defense held against the run, but as we all talked about going into the NFC Championship game, they were really susceptible in the back ends. This Kansas City defense
doesn't have many issues.
Stout secondary. They tackle well. They've got guys that can play man-to-man. They've got guys that can play well in zone. They can stop the run. And Chris Jones, I think, is going to wreak havoc on those San Francisco guards.
The interesting thing about the Chiefs, this is probably Patrick Mahomes' worst team offensively, but probably also his best team defensively.
That's a great point. It is. You're right.
You're looking in his tenure offensively, they've not been great all year, but defensively they have been outstanding, top 2 or 3 in the league in most statistical categories all year long. So they say defense wins championships. It seems like Kansas City is doing that really well at an elite level this year. We'll see how this plays out in I guess in a couple of days.
No question. Yeah. Carey Davis, Anthony Stalter, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Should professional sports do away with the All-Star game? We saw 2 All-Star games over the weekend. We were chatting about it a little bit earlier today, some of the aspects, the fallout from the 2 All-Star games. But should professional sports just go ahead and do away with the All-Star games, all told? So that's next on 101 ESPN.
Happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And if you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about the scoring, the best seat on the couch. I don't want to play anymore, Anthony. I don't need to.
What?
I'll take the check.
That's not what you said earlier.
I don't want to play.
Said you wanted to play Sunday.
Maybe. Did I get paid? Yeah. Then I get to go home. And I can grab
Do it for one game.
One game. You can grab all of your favorite football snacks while placing some super bets. FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W or 2 or 3.
Yeah, Carey, now you could bet on who will win the Super Bowl. You could bet on which players will score a touchdown. There are all kinds of player props. How many yards Brock Purdy will throw for. How many yards or touchdowns Patrick Mahomes will accumulate. Anything that you could think of when it comes to certain player props or team props for Super Bowl 58, it's all available at FanDuel. And new customers can join today. You'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/fast to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/fast to sign up. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 and older, present in Illinois. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Super Bowl champ Carey Davis and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Don't forget, we have Darrius Shepherd of the Battlehawks coming up at 4:15. He's going to be with us in studio following the Gauntlet, so should be a fun time with Darrius talking about the new release of the Battlehawks schedule with the season coming up here in just a couple of months. We also saw over the weekends the NFL had its Pro Bowl, the NHL had its All-Star game, Pro Bowl-ish. All-Star game-ish. I mean, it's skills competitions now. Based on Carey's face, I think I know where he's going with this question, but should professional sports just do away with the All-Star game, Carey?
When it's done in the way, like football has obviously changed the entire format. They don't even play football anymore. They play flag football, which I get it to a degree. I mean, guys are making millions of dollars and due to get millions of dollars in the offseason if they're a free agent. So you don't want to risk injury. But who wants to watch that?
Yeah.
Like, who wants to sit at home? I would be intrigued to know what the ratings are for that weekend, just watching the skills. To me, it was more fun. Back in the day, it was like the 90s, early 80s and early 90s where they had the strongman competition, or they would have the fastest man, the races. There were different things, the quarterback accuracy. I know they do some form of that, but I just feel like it has gotten so far away from actually playing football, which I can do without. I do like the NBA All-Star game. I do like the NBA All-Star weekend. The dunk contest is hit or miss.
Yeah.
But the three-point contest is kind of taking over that. They have a skills competition. Baseball, I think, does really good. I don't know about the home run derby if I want to watch people hit 65 home runs in in three opportunities. It feels like a bit much, but there are some aspects of the All-Star games that are still exciting to watch.
So I watched the NHL All-Star game, and like the first game, it was Team McDavid up against Team McKinnon, and the speed was just, I'm like, what are we doing? What is going on out here? Like, why are we even playing this game? Then the second game happened, and the speed was a little bit better. Like, Team Matthews ended up winning the whole thing, but they had a little jump to their game. Maybe they wanted to play it up for the home fans because most of the players on that team were from the Maple Leafs. So I get that, but, like, why? Like, what are we doing? Here's my thing. If the players want to be there, then that's fine. It looked like I was watching a little bit of the Pro Bowl stuff. Like, those guys were having fun. They're doing tug of war, and they're doing all these other things. Like, if they're having fun, then, like, keep it, right? Because it's an opportunity for them to meet other players. Like, there's a lot of players in the league, even though they cross paths during games, they don't get to meet other players. So maybe that's an opportunity for them. And if they want to do that, then great, keep it. Like, fans will show up. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think it's special for the players, but as a fan watching, come on.
Well, so the question is why? Because, Carey, when you and I were growing up, it was fun still. It was something I look forward to. Yeah. I didn't care what All-Star game it was. Yeah. It was an opportunity to watch players that I didn't typically watch or didn't have an opportunity to watch play against each other. And I think that is what has happened here.
Yeah.
As great, I wouldn't want to go back, but as great as streaming has, as big as it has become, as popular it has become, more access to games that we have.
Yeah.
The more you get to watch those players during a regular season, the first half of the regular season, and therefore that draw to watch them play in the All-Star game just isn't there. Whether it's in the midseason like baseball, hockey, and basketball does, or at the end of the year like the Pro Bowl. I remember as a kid, because I was a stupid Falcons fan, I wanted to see the one representative from the Falcons with that helmet on go out there and play and see how he did. But the TV access wasn't as grand as it was in the 90s.
Right.
Late 90s, you had the introduction of the NFL ticket, Sunday ticket, but you didn't have access to all the games like we do now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you buy the MLB package, you can bounce around.
And watch pretty much everything.
Exactly. So you could watch Shohei Ohtani. You could watch whoever you want to watch. You could start, if you want to dedicate your entire night to watching baseball, and some do, you can. You could start off with the Cardinals and then work your way to the late games too. So I think that with TV expanding and streaming becoming more popular, I just think the appeal hasn't, been there when it comes to the All-Star games.
Also, I mean, the games have changed so much. I mean, when you look at football, it's a different game than what you see on a regular Sunday. When you look at hockey, they do have aspects of 3-on-3 hockey, but that's not the natural game. Like, it's 5-on-5. And so it's just a different game in the All-Star game than you're accustomed to watching all season long. Baseball is the only one that plays the game the exact same way as they do in the regular season. And basketball, I actually like the format that they have where it's the Elam ending where you have to get to a target score. I think it's 24 points from whatever your final third quarter score is, and both teams have to get to that number. So if you're down, and it's no clock, so you have to get to that number. I like that, but at the end of the day, they're just coasting for the first three quarters until they get to that fourth quarter, and then they actually turn it up a little bit.
And I watched the NHL, like I said, I watched a little bit of the NHL All-Star game, and it seemed like no one wanted to shoot the puck. They were all just trying to dish the puck off to somebody else, and then by the end of it, one of the score was super low scoring, which that's the whole reason why they put the 3-on-3 in, is because, you were having these 15 to 14 games, 5-on-5 hockey. It's like, who wants to watch that?
Yeah, they're like, I'm going to try to give you something that you don't normally watch. We realize that the All-Star game, it's not your cup of tea anymore. It's not drawing you like it used to. So let's switch things up. You can't blame them for trying. I think some of it works and some of it doesn't. I actually think the home run derby still works.
I actually wish they'd go back to the old format. I'm sick of seeing them go up there and there's just swinging and they're swinging and swinging, and give me the 9 outs. I like that better.
Really?
But you only
it's longer.
It is longer, but that's if you have to implement a rule of hey, you can only take a certain amount of pitches, because a lot of guys, they'd take 10 pitches in a row if it wasn't right there in the sweet spot.
It's almost like if they had a pitch clock or something.
Stop it.
Let's hear from Tony, who left us a mic drop.
Okay, I say take all the All-Stars of all the sports, NHL, NBA, MLB, the Pro Bowl guys, and put them all into a decathlon. Have them compete against each other, bringing up the topic of which sport has the best athletes. Make it a combination of all the sports. Make them play tennis. Pickleball.
Tony, I like your out of the box thinking.
That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
It's not a bad idea. I don't know how you make it work.
I don't know.
You can't. But
the Pro Bowl and the NHL hockey All-Star game.
Yeah, you could do that. Yep.
Yeah, move it back just a little bit. Have the NBA All-Star game as well.
Yep. Yeah, the only one you couldn't have is Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
But Tony kind of got me with the pickleball and the tennis, and it's not a bad idea.
See, who's really an athlete? The NFL does dodgeball. It doesn't look fun either.
Yeah, but it's with everybody.
Who wants to do that?
Okay, crap on my idea.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Tony. Crapped on your idea. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We have the Gauntlet next.
notes, and nuggets. Four warriors, four categories, one challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
The Gauntlet is powered by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit mastor.com.
401, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Carey Davis and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. And we have is he new? I should probably have asked. New contestant now to the Gauntlet, Marky Mark.
Yes.
What's up, Mark?
What's up, boys? Good pick.
I think everybody's pretty good here for the most part. You excited about the Super Bowl?
It's going to be wonderful.
Oh, I could tell. that maybe you're not a football fan. If you're going to get a category today, what are you hoping for?
Probably random.
Random? All right. Well, we'll see how you do here. But you have to pick a contender first. Would you like to take on CD, Marsh, or me?
Yeah, let's do Carey Davis.
All right. Carey Davis is up first.
Righty.
Carey didn't even say anything outside. Well, he just said, "Oh, righty," but he slammed down his headphones and said, "I'm out of here." I think Carey's used to it at this point. All right, Mark, go ahead and tell Marsh to spin that wheel. Find out what category you get.
Yeah, spin it, Marshy.
All right. I can only see part of the wheel here. What we got there, Marsh? Foosball? You got football, Mark.
Terrific.
You know, sometimes when you put it in the atmosphere, the wheel's like, screw you, I'm going to go against you. Just depends on how temperamental the wheel is. But, hey, you're going to get 4 football questions today. Carey's going to get the same 4 football questions. Each question is worth 2 points, unless you ask for the options, and those questions, therefore, become worth 1 point. Are you ready? Mark, you there?
I'm there.
Okay. You ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. New Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur the Man Smith previously filled the same position with the Titans from 2019 to 2020. A.J. Brown led Tennessee in catches over that 2-season span with 122. Who was second? Who was the second leading receiver for the Titans under Arthur Smith in 2019-2020?
Wait.
Options. That's a tough one. Corey Davis, Adam Humphries, Derrick Henry. Corey Davis, Adam Humphries, Derrick Henry.
Let's go with Adam.
You're breaking up a little bit, Mark. Who'd you say?
Adam Humphries, final answer.
Got it.
Question number 2. Since 2018, only 2 NFL players have recorded 20-plus sacks in a season. TJ Watt is one, and name the other.
Did you say options?
Yes.
Okay.
Options are Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett, J.J. Watt.
Aaron Donald.
Final answer?
Final answer.
All right, Mark, question number 3. The first indoor Super Bowl was held on January 15th, 1978 in New Orleans. Dallas smashed Denver that day, 27-10, intercepting which Broncos quarterback 4 times? You cut out again, Mark.
What's your, I'm sorry, my phone. I'm going through a bad area, guys.
That's all right, no problem. 1978. So it was Dallas and Denver. Who did Dallas intercept 4 times that day? Which Broncos quarterback? 1978.
Please.
Options. All right. Steve DeBerg, Ken Anderson, or Craig Morton?
Let's go with Craig.
Craig Morton?
Yes. Finally.
All right.
Question number 4. What team turned the ball over a league high 37 times this season?
Let's go with options again, boys.
Options are New England Patriots, Cleveland Browns, Washington Commanders.
Let's go.
Did you say Cleveland?
Commanders, finally.
Commanders, okay.
Surprised the Vikings weren't on that list.
You know the Vikings can outplay the 49ers in the Super Bowl?
I did find that out a few weeks ago. Or maybe it was last week.
It was last week, yep.
Yeah.
Maybe I was sick that day too, Marsh.
Maybe.
Sick in the head. All right, Carey Davis is coming in from the Cone of Silence. Mark, how you feeling?
Like my bags tournament yesterday. Terrible.
Okay. Typically a good bags player?
Just recreational bags. No turn. No around.
All right, fair enough. All right, Carey, how you feeling?
I'm doing well. I was in there talking to Mike Ryder. We were talking about Killer Mike the Rapper and Grammys and all things. All sorts of things.
So you're locked in.
I'm dialed in.
Uh-oh.
I'm relaxed, actually.
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
All right, Carey, your category today is football.
Well, all right.
Question 1.
Oh, let's go.
New Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur, the main man Smith, previously filled the same position with the Titans from 2019 to 2020. A.J. Brown led Tennessee in catches over that 2-season span with 122. Who was second?
Oh, Lord.
That's a tough one.
That's a terrible question.
Ouch. Sorry, Grant and/or Bradford.
I think it was Bradford.
I do apologize, Bradford. I love you.
He's probably listened too. He really,
That's a tough. I mean,
really
it's terrible
loves his work.
It's terrible because it's great. All right, give me the options.
All right. Corey Davis, Adam Humphries, or Derrick Henry?
Oh, that one you scratch off Derrick Henry. No way. Corey Davis did have. He was kind of he had some issues, but then he got okay. Let's go Corey Davis. Final answer.
Question number 2. Since 2018, only 2 NFL players have recorded 20-plus sacks in a season. TJ Watt is one. Name the other.
Since 2018? It ain't Aaron Donald. I'm going to be so mad when I get these options. I don't think it's Myles Garrett. I am going to be bothered when I get these options because I know the answer. At least I think I do. Give me the options. Gosh darn it.
Options are Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett, or J.J. Watt.
Did J.J. get 20? Did Myles get 20? I don't think Myles did, and I don't think Aaron did. All right, yeah, but I feel like I would know if it was J.J. Watt. Go, okay, J.J., final answer. I hate this.
All right, Carey, question 3. The first indoor Super Bowl was held on January 15th, 1978 in New Orleans. Dallas smashed Denver that day, 27-10, intercepting which Broncos quarterback 4 times?
Oh, 1978, you say?
Yes, sir.
I remember that one like it was yesterday. Give me the options.
3 years before you were born?
Yeah.
You're an 81 kid?
Yep.
All right.
I was watching it, though. I was dreaming about it.
I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Dad, maybe. But- All right, you said you want the options?
Yes, please.
Steve DeBerg, Ken Anderson, Craig Morton.
Oh, my gosh. This is awful. You all didn't tell me to pack a lunch, though, so I don't know. Did I need to pack a lunch?
Marsh?
I mean, you always have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Always be ready.
Steve DeBerg.
It's always recommended.
Craig, Ken Anderson?
Steve DeBerg, Ken Anderson, Craig Morton.
And this is the Broncos?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. Goodness gracious. I don't think it's DeBerg. I don't think it's Ken Anderson because I remember he was... All right, give me C. Morton, final answer. Oh, I don't like it here.
Question number 4. What team turned the ball over a league high 37 times this season?
Which team had fumbling and turnover issues? Who led the league in interceptions? Oh, man. Give me the options again, please.
Options are the New England Patriots, the Cleveland Browns, or the Washington Commanders.
Oh, the Commanders did have a lot of turnover issues. That's probably part of the problem. Cleveland Browns had like 8 starting quarterbacks, so you figure 23 or 4 of them probably threw a lot of interceptions. Give me the Commanders. I feel like that's wrong. Final answer. Not confident at all today.
All right. Neither of you were confident. Let's go over these. Start off with that one. What team turned the ball over a league high 37 times this season? Carey, as we just heard, you said the Commanders. Mark, you also said the Commanders. Correct answer is?
It is the Cleveland Browns.
It's the Cleveland Browns.
Of course it is.
It's the old Brownies.
It's always the Browns. Shouldn't
I mean, not always, but
it's kind of
a lot. All right, so 0-0 tie between Carey and Mark. The first indoor Super Bowl was held on January 15th, 1978 in New Orleans. Dallas smashed Denver that day 27-10, intercepting which Broncos quarterback 4 times? Carey, you said Craig Morton. Mark, you said Craig Morton. Correct answer is?
It is Craig Morton.
You guys nailed that one. Nice job. You knew it. With the options, you nailed it.
Yes.
We got a 1-1 tie.
Yes.
New Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith previously filled the same position with the Titans from 2019 to 20. A.J. Brown led Tennessee in catches over that 2-season span with 122. Who was second? Mark, with the options, you went Adam Humphries. Carey, with the options, you went Corey Davis. Correct answer is?
It is Corey Davis.
It's Corey Davis. So Carey is on the board. We got a 1-0 lead for Carey in this defensive struggle.
2-1, sir.
2-1.
2-1.
Oh, yeah, 2-1. Sorry, that's right.
On my Craig Morton.
My bad. You guys were...
Thanks, sir.
No, you guys nailed that one. 2-1. My bad. Where did Corey Davis go to school?
Row the boat, people. Western Michigan.
That's right.
Yeah.
Carey, you win today. Congratulations. No.
Okay. Thank you.
You're going to have to earn it, Carey. All right. Since 2018, only 2 NFL players have recorded 20-plus sack seasons. T.J. Watt is one. Name the other. Carey, with the options, you went J.J. Watt, his brother. Pride of Central Michigan. Mark, for 1 year. You went with Aaron Donald. If it's Aaron Donald, we have a walk-off. If it's J.J. Watt or Myles Garrett, CD wins today. Mark?
Walk it off.
We got to walk off. It is Aaron Donald, 20.5 sacks in 2018. All right, this is how it's going to work. Carey, you got pen and paper here?
Yeah.
All right. Carey is going to write down his answer. He's going to show us. And then, Mark, as soon as Carey shows us, we're going to go to you. Don't cheat. Sound good?
All good. Are we getting options too?
No options. It's closest to the pin.
I just figured since we both use options.
Sounds fair to me.
It does sound fair, but That's not how the tiebreaker works. All right, so Mark, don't blurt out your answer until we go to you. Here we go. Carey, Mark, here's your tie-breaking question. Again, Mark, hold off. When the Chiefs and 49ers met in Super Bowl 54, how many passing yards did MVP Patrick Mahomes rack up? When the Chiefs and 49ers met in Super Bowl 54, how many passing yards did MVP Patrick Mahomes rack up? Carey has his answer. Mark, what is yours?
315.
All right. Marsh, I always enjoy not needing a calculator.
I had it ready just in case.
Mark.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose.
Marsh, how many yards did Patrick Mahomes throw for against the 49ers in Super Bowl 54?
286.
Carey wrote down, as he's showing our cameras, 289. 289. So CD closest to the pin. Mark, you weren't too far off with 315. It was an educated guess that, honestly, if you're facing Jamie or I, probably would have nailed it. Jamie and I would probably wrote down like 600 or something.
3,000.
Yep.
3,000.
Mark, good effort, man. Yeah, 3,000. Mark, good effort, man. Thanks for playing. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Mark.
Carey, congratulations. I know you feel great about that. We got to get to Darrius Shepherd, though, because he is in studio with us next. The Battlehawks wide receiver will join us to talk about the upcoming season. Again, live in studio. We'll talk to Darrius Shepherd next on 101 ESPN. So it's a perfect time to talk a little cacaw, the Battlehawks, because the UFL has announced that St. Louis will be the host of this year's championship game, and we can imagine, no, that was fake, Stully. Come on. It should be. It will be with that. No, but the UFL did release a schedule, and it's a perfect time to talk to our next guest, Darrius Shepherd, who plays for Battlehawks. You root for him. And Darrius, first and foremost, thank you for coming on. Carey Davis, Anthony Stalter, we appreciate you being here. And I know it's been a long day for you. Hopefully we'll keep it upbeat for you. But thanks for joining us.
No, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
So talk to us. I mean, so the schedule is released. Battlehawks fans are excited. What's it like for you as a player?
Yeah, we've been waiting a while, man. You know, we've been trying to figure out this whole merge situation, going from the XFL to the USFL coming together and seeing how all the details are going to shake out. And obviously, once we knew that the merge was official, the next thing is, okay, who are we playing and when are we playing? Because obviously, fans are excited, family. We got a lot of great matchups that could, possibly come up, and we want to see when they're going to be. So when we got the schedule released today, we were really happy to see who we were going to be playing, and we got Michigan first at Ford Field. So what a game one to start with.
That's awesome.
That is going to be awesome. So I played with Anthony Beck. We were teammates in the NFL. Tell me how he is as a coach. What type of coach is he?
Yeah, he's a player's coach, man. A great leader. I remember him calling me last year after the draft and just saying, "Hey, man, I want you to come here, have fun, and get all you guys to the league." Really, that was his goal. So it's a lot of fun playing for a coach who's been in those shoes and understands it.
Darrius Shepherd joins us right now on the Fast Line on 101 ESPN. Darrius, I don't think a lot of fans know what you guys go through in preparation for the season, what you guys have to go through when it comes to traveling. So let us in. Let us behind the curtain. What a practice is like, what schedule is like. Walk us through as an XFL, now UFL player.
No doubt.
What is it like to play in this league?
For sure. So it's definitely unique because unlike other, like the NFL, for example, they're always going to be in their home city. So if you play for, let's say, the Kansas City Chiefs, you're in Kansas City, everything's there located. We're in a hub system, so we're all down in Dallas, Texas, playing down there, or not playing down there, but living down there, practicing down there. So, you go through practice at local high school fields or college fields down there. You have meetings inside different conference rooms and all that. And then it gets around the game day, you fly up to St. Louis or wherever you're playing opposing team and stay in a hotel that night, go play the game in front of, the greatest crowd in St. Louis. Nice. And then you head back to your little shop in Texas, and it's cool because the weather's nice down there. It's nice and warm and some good barbecue and all that. But it's definitely different, and we find different ways to make it work. Whether it's training or watching film. It helps, I think, also build the team chemistry, being that kind of setup.
Now, Darrius, you said good barbecue. You're from Kansas City. Are you okay saying that? I mean, they tell me Kansas City has the best barbecue. Right. You got to be careful. I'm sure you got friends and family might be listening.
Yeah, I'm treading lightly, so I'm just a fan of barbecue overall. So St. Louis, Kansas City, Texas, that's all my top three. So.
I got you. So you were XFL Special Teams Player of the Year last year. What is the most exciting? The special teams for XFL is obviously different than the NFL. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about that, and what makes a great special returner?
For sure. So, yeah, the XFL is a super different setup with the whole, straight line across kickoff team and not moving until the ball was caught. So we had to find cool ways to create lanes and make big explosive plays, and that was a cool challenge. But I did hear this year we're going to be more of the USFL, NFL style. So it'll be a traditional kickoff, but it'll be from the 20-yard line. Okay. So that way we don't have all the touchbacks that they have in the NFL right now. You'll have to return it. You'll have to field it and set your team up with, good field position. And I think as far as being successful at kick return or, punt return, whatever it may be as a returner, having that backyard mentality. You know how it is, as a kid, you grew up in the backyard playing with all your friends, and how do I get to the end zone, and a lot of it is the guys in front of you blocking for you. So that's the biggest part, is just having good teammates that, try to lay guys out and take care of you.
Now, I will give you credit because I would do kickoff return, but no way in hell would I ever do a punt return. With people running down, you have to have something about you, a little bit crazy recklessness to be able to be a punt returner. What is the mindset when you're standing there fielding a punt, knowing that a 220-pound, 230-pound man is running full speed to come hit you?
Right. Yeah, the best way I heard it put is like you're playing in traffic. So it's a lot of fun. I think it's just a good time to change the momentum. I've seen so many guys return punts and get explosive, and it just gets the whole crowd going and the team fired up. So I'm looking forward to doing it in the Dome this year and making some big plays happen.
Carey, I don't know if you ever did it in practice when you were the Steelers, but Darrius, we used to, when the Rams were here, we would go down and we'd be in training camp or whatever, and I'd see the guys try to catch the punts, and I'd see different players that didn't normally attempt to catch a punt try it. What's the most difficult aspect of that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just tracking it. Guys that didn't maybe play baseball don't have that experience of tracking the flight of a ball in flight, and just understanding the Q's and T's. Like if a kicker is right-footed, for example, the ball's going to veer off to the left. So just having knowing those fine points, it's an art, I think, as far as catching the punt and understanding whether you're outside is the wind blowing a certain direction, what's the field position. There's so much that goes into it that I think gets overlooked.
Center fielder?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I figured as much. Darrius Shepherd of the Battlehawks joins us right now on the Fastlane on 101 ESPN. You had mentioned it before. It is, Carey and I opened the show, in fact, talking about this, the way that St. Louis gravitated toward the Battlehawks, made them their own, developed the chant and the rituals before the game. I remember going to the first ever game at the Dome and seeing the tailgate and just the excitement around town. You have an opportunity to play in other cities to see what it's like with their fan base. I mean, you're not just placating. That's different here.
It's definitely different, and I'm not downplaying. There's a lot of good other cities where they have good fan bases and all that, but you come to St. Louis, it's different, and these fans care so much, and I think filling that void from the Rams being here in the past, they do a great job. And like you said, you step off the bus for game day, you see the tailgate, the fans are going crazy, loud music, and we were talking about it earlier. We're around some fans this weekend at different events, and they know the section that they're in. They know everybody around them. They have the fan clubs and the groups and all that, so it's just special to be in this environment and get to play for these guys.
When you have fans like that, I think people don't really understand how important that is, that fan base, and having, that energy in the stadium. That can really get you going when you're struggling or having a bad game or things aren't going well, but the fans can really jumpstart an offense or jumpstart a defense to really get going.
No question. Yeah, the energy is very real. And, you go to environments where there's no fans there, and you're like, man, this isn't it. But then you see, Super Bowl Sunday coming up and how big of a deal that is. Nobody wants to not be playing in that game. So
Correct.
You show up to St. Louis and you're playing in front of 40,000, and it just brings the best out of you.
By the way, you can get a hold of some tickets and other merchandise at it's theufl.com, theufl.com, or if I want to speak correctly, I went a little formal there. theufl.com. Darrius Shepherd joins us from the Battlehawks. So Darrius, when it comes to playing in this league, you also know that there's certain aspects when it comes to the media, which we love because then we get that instant access right away. How is it to be interviewed on the sidelines, during while the play is going on? Know that you can be grabbed at any point, knowing it's not just after the game when you can cool down a little bit. It could be at any point. And then, of course, you got other media obligations. How's that aspect been?
Yeah, it's a little different, having the on-field access. And I think the fans love it, so it's really cool to be able to give that back to them and let them see behind the scenes of, play-by-play what you're thinking after a big play. And if you're in the locker room, how you're going to regroup and go out in the second half. So that's definitely a unique factor, I think, having that access. But it's cool.
Plus, Belichick isn't in the league yet, so
that would not fly over there.
Yeah, you can't access some of your plays and things like that.
There you go.
Yeah. So when it comes to this upcoming season, you're gonna get some crossover now. You're gonna play teams that you didn't play last year. You're gonna play teams that you do. Like you said, you opened up against Michigan, right? Was there a team that when you looked at the schedule that you got excited for?
Yeah, I think for myself and speaking for the team, I think Birmingham, because you've seen what they've done over in the USFL. They've won 2 championship games, so they believe that they're the best of the best, and we want to be in that spot. So I think we have that game highlighted and circled. But obviously we're taking everybody serious, and we're looking forward to each week as they come, but definitely Birmingham.
That's cool too. You have an opportunity to watch the other league. You guys pay attention, and it makes the entire product better. It makes the league better.
100%. Yeah, a lot of good players, top to bottom. Like you said, with it condensing, now there's even more competition.
Yeah.
And one last thing, you went to North Dakota State, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Our friend here went to North Dakota.
You guys are rivals.
You got anything to say to him?
Grand Forks guy. No, I have nothing bad to say. Hey, we're all in St. Louis now, so it's all good.
There you go.
Hey, I've traveled to Fargo a few times to catch some tailgates for the Bison. So they got a good I hate to say this, but they got a good product over there. And so
you guys take care of the hocky side.
We do. We got that covered, and you guys got the football side.
That's the sport that I was about to say. That he's a hockey guy. Marsh is a hockey guy, so you don't have to worry about any crossover.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, North Dakota. That has become an absolute powerhouse program. What's the secret?
Yeah, I think it's just culture and guys buying in. You know, I think it started in the 60s with some of those older guys where they just kept it going from generation to generation and just coming up here, working hard and do what you can to win games, unselfish mindset. And that's really I think all you got to do up there is play football anyway. It's so cold.
All right, so one last thing. You're a KC guy. I'm assuming grew up a Chiefs fan?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Chiefs and Rams.
Chiefs and Rams. Any concerns about Sunday?
I think they're hot right now, man. So I see them getting it done. I don't know who's going to be able to stop 1-5. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Carey and I foolishly picked the Ravens, but
made a mistake. Yeah. Won't do it again, though.
Last 2 weeks, we've been all Patrick Mahomes. We've learned from it. So Chiefs fans have told us to get bent and root for the Niners, but hey, no big deal. Do you play with Mahomes too?
So I was there in 2021, and that was a really cool experience getting around those guys and seeing how it operates. Pulling up to the Chiefs Stadium as a Chiefs fan, like that's a dream come true. Each and every day for work. But, yeah, I mean, he's unlike any other. And I was with Aaron Rodgers. I would say neck and neck. Those two guys.
Awesome.
No kidding. So Rodgers, Mahomes, I'm just going to ask you the obvious question. Like, what's the similarity? There's always a connection with great.
Yeah.
So what's the connection with great between those two?
I think the biggest comparison would be just their mindset. Like, they're just crazy competitors, and I think as a teammate, you feed off of that and see that, and you want to have that same energy when you show up each and every day.
Is it the processing ability too? Do you guys just see these guys just constantly
super
constantly thinking?
Yeah. They're
Wheels
super
always
smart guys.
spinning.
Right.
And
shut up.
And Travis Kelce, did you get any thought that this guy at some point is gonna probably marry Taylor Swift? And
hey, I have no idea he would go where it's been, but he's a hilarious guy, good personality being in that room with him.
He seems like that's exactly what you get. What you see on TV and what you see in the podcast and all that, that's what you're going to get out of him.
Yeah, just a guy's guy,
Yeah. Well, Darrius, we wish you the best of luck, man. We will be watching, and if it's cool, Brian Stull does. By the way, Stully, you should hear him right here on 101 ESPN all the time. When I first got into the business here in St. Louis, Stully helped me out immensely, and Stully's working for the Battlehawks, doing a tremendous job. So, Darrius, if you're cool with it, Stully's cool with it, of course, we'd love to have you on during the season if it works out schedule-wise.
Of
Excellent.
Course. Yeah,
awesome.
Shout out to Brian, man. He's one of the best in the city.
He's phenomenal. Yeah, don't give him a big head, though. Now you guys are going to walk out of here. He's going to think he's fantastic. He is. All right, Darrius, best of luck, man. We're excited.
Appreciate you guys.
Darrius Shepherd, Battlehawks. Coming up here, don't forget again, theufl.com for ticket information, merchandise, all that stuff. And now the schedule is released. You're really going to want to get on this. All right, more from the Fast Lane next on 101 ESPN. When it comes to understanding where the interest rates are, where they could be going, but more importantly, how they impact you, Jamie and I call one guy, and that's Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. You've heard him on 101 ESPN. He has been in St. Louis forever. It's because he wants to help St. Louis customers. And when it comes to St. Louis customers, you need somebody that's going to be local. And that's where Stewie is. He wants to be here so he can understand the market, understand how he's going to save you money over the course of a loan. And if you're purchasing a home, that is the largest investment you're ever going to make. So when it comes to a loan for your home, you want to make sure you're getting the best rate, certainly. But you also want to make sure that you're not going to have any issues down the road. And he knows certain aspects of what's going to save you money over time. He introduced the bagel loan because up front, he wants you to be able to put the best down payment that you can or make the best offer to a seller. The bagel loan, if you're borrowing $200,000 or more, you qualify for the bagel loan, which is no lender fees, no legal costs, no any of that. You're set. Think about what you could do with that money up front because you went with Stewie. So maybe you're working with a different lender right now, and you're wondering, should I refi? Should I not? Am I getting the best deal? Just give Stewie a call or a text at 314-324-4440. He can take a look for you. He can offer at least the best advice. It's Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Call or text. Tell him Jamie and Anthony sent you.
NMLS number 226715.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. We just had Darrius Shepherd on the show from the Battlehawks. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page, and you'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. The Blues will be back in action this weekend, taking on the Buffalo Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens. Starting on Saturday, they'll take on the Sabres with the pregame starting at 11, puck drop at 12. Same goes on Sunday, going up against Montreal. And then after the Blues game in Canada, we have Super Bowl 58 for you. It's Anthony's Chiefs taking on the 49ers, and we'll have all the coverage for you starting at 4 o'clock. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. There's always something during the Super Bowl week that winds up, you think, this is just media fodder, right? It's just me. The media is making a big deal out of it.
You talking about the new Taylor Swift album?
No, I'm not talking about the new Taylor Swift album. Although, hey, I mean, it's a good time for it, right?
Probably.
But there's always kind of a storyline that I feel like comes out during the Super Bowl week that winds up becoming like a big deal, but you just don't know about it. And this is totally narrative driven. for example, that when the Panthers and the Broncos played and Cam Newton was getting more frustrated and frustrated and frustrated. Do you remember that Super Bowl week at all?
I don't remember that. I remember Marshawn, obviously.
Marshawn, sure, yeah.
I don't remember Cam getting frustrated. Well, I don't remember that one.
You could tell he was having fun on Monday, and he was over it by Friday, which I totally get. Carey, you've been there, so you know what Super Bowl week is like. It's probably
ridiculous.
Draining.
It's ridiculous. And especially, so it's ridiculous. The amount of media, like you're accustomed to media being in your locker room and being around. I couldn't even give you the number of how many more media members are there. And if you are a starting quarterback, I'm sure the requests and the needs and the priorities are that much more. It's just that much more that you have to do or is expected of you. But it can be overwhelming because it's so different from your normal game week, right? In your mind, you tell yourself, oh, it's the same thing. Yeah, but it ain't. Yeah. Because there are people here from countries that you've never had in your locker room, people here that don't necessarily do football. They're here because of the stories that take place. And so it changes the week and your preparation, and we are creatures of habit. So it can be a little bit tough,
I totally get that. I just remember that Super Bowl. As the week wore on, Cam got more frustrated, more annoyed. And I remember looking at Dan Bellock. I remember Danny Pants, who used to produce Dunk and I's show, The Turn. I remember looking at Dan at one point as we're consuming all this video or this, whatever, the highlights. And I go, Carolina's going to lose this game. It just felt that way. This is so stupid. My take on this is so stupid. And you all know that I'm Red Kingdom all the way. I'm Chiefs Kingdom all the way.
You're a Chiefsaholic.
Yeah. Again, this is a dumb take. Perhaps my dumbest, and I've had a lot. But the 49ers being displeased about their practice fields tells me all I need to know about the mindset for the Niners. This has been a story today.
So
you're displeased? You don't like your fields?
You want everything to be as similar as possible to what you are accustomed to as you prepare for the biggest game of your life. And make no mistake about it, that's what it is. It is the biggest game of your life. And so if things are different or off or not up to the standards, now you got to go and deal with it however you can, but it changes. It's a different animal, man. There's so much pressure on people in this moment, and again, you tell Anthony. I'll tell you a quick story. So in my mind, the whole time leading up to the Super Bowl, I'm like, it's just the same game, Ben talks. I was like, well, it's kind of the same game. Feels like, the field is the same. I've played in Raymond James Stadium before. Opening kickoff, before the kickoff, I almost had a panic attack because in my mind, I'm the kick returner. I'm on the back end. The only thing I could think about was, oh my God, every film that I've seen of Super Bowl Sunday opening kickoff is flickering of lights.
Yeah.
What if that distracts me? My brain went into overdrive like, oh my God, this could happen. You tell yourself it's the same game, but it ain't the same game, man. If I'm back there, click, I can't see the ball. It was a fear.
How'd you do it? You did fine.
Not a problem. But your brain goes places. You start thinking of other things that could take place. And if the practice field is not to the level that you want it to be, that could be something that sticks with you or stays with you. Now, once you get to the game, you got to play. Yeah. I know the field last year, they thought it was terrible sliding for both the Chiefs and the Eagles last year, and it was. But at the end of the day, both teams are on the same field. They both have the same conditions. They deal with it.
I just think about it, especially with your Steelers. I can't imagine that the mindset for somebody like James Harrison or Troy Polamalu or Ryan Clark or yourself would be anything but, well, we don't care the field is. Let's go. We'll play you in the parking lot.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, every person, I would assume, I would venture, and some of those guys had already played in the Super Bowl, so they were kind of playing with house money to a degree. some of us, it was our first one. You don't want to be, you want to take care of your business.
Sure.
But there is a level of stress that until you're put in that situation, you don't really know the level of stress that you're dealing with. Like, so James Harrison, you talk about him on the play where he got that interception, he was supposed to blitz the quarterback. He just decided not to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he decided not to. Now, let me tell you what would have happened if Kurt Warner would have extended that play and ran it in for a touchdown. Guess who would have been? It'd have been problematic, right? But he felt something. He dropped, pick, 6, and it's a great play in history. But if it goes the other way. That was one
of the best plays in Super Bowl history.
If it goes the other way, it's problematic.
I mean, at any point, he could have been tackled, down, out.
He just kept running.
That was remarkable.
Doesn't that make great players great, though? They know when to make a decision like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It does.
I mean, you played with Paul Amalu, who was
they
one of
stumble into something that's great. Troy was different, though.
Troy was RC,
different.
Ryan Clark.
Yes.
Who you obviously know. He's your former teammate. When I had an opportunity to travel back and forth to Bristol, I used to sit next to Ryan Clark all the time. And when I got to know Ryan and Carey, I think I used you. I said, hey, do you know Carey Davis? I know Carey Davis. But when I had an opportunity to talk to him, I'm like, what was different about Troy? He's like, he just knew what was going to happen all the time. Like, that was the difference. He knew what was going to happen at all times.
Troy could tell you what play was about to happen based on down and distance, alignment, where they were on the field. So where people would think, well, Troy's just out there freestyling, Troy actually knew. He could also disguise things. He would be a cover 2 safety and be standing at the line of scrimmage. Or who the hell thinks he's going to cover the second half, this whole half of the field?
Everybody should have.
How?
That guy was
He's
incredible.
lined up at the line of scrimmage. So he was able to play around and do things because he was so comfortable and confident in what he knew. But it's when you are the 49ers are they're in a great position, but they're in a tough position. They're in the same position that the Baltimore Ravens were in last year. They haven't done it yet. And until you actually get over that hump, until you actually do it, there's some doubt where, can we actually do this? And we're going against a team where we can't have any mistakes. If they were playing the Baltimore Ravens, it would be more of a fair fight. This is not a fair fight, but it's still a fight that they have an opportunity to win.
That's Carey Davis, Super Bowl champ. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Are Cardinals fans still optimistic about 2024? Well, we're going to bring up something to tell you whether or not they're leaning one way or the other. Next on 101 ESPN.
Anthony, the Super Bowl is on Sunday, and happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks, and placing some bets. And FanDuel, Anthony, has so many ways for you to pick up the W or 2 or 3 or however many you choose to pick up.
Yeah, Carey, talking about player props?
Yeah.
Galore.
Plenty.
Not just Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy and Deebo Samuel. They've got prop plays on everything.
I love it.
Color of the Gatorade bath, I'm sure there'll be Taylor Swift, visual mentions or whatever.
Yeah.
You could FanDuel's going to have it all for you for Super Bowl 58. But you do have to get signed up. And if you are a new customer and you join today, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. That's right, $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. But you do got to get signed up, Gary.
Just visit FanDuel.com/fast to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/fast. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 and older, present in Illinois, $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Spectrum One is a big deal. You get Spectrum Internet with the most reliable internet speeds, free advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced security and privacy, and a free Spectrum Mobile Unlimited line with nationwide 5G included, all while saving big. For the big speed, big reliability, and big savings you want, get Spectrum One. Just $49.99 a month for 12 months. Visit spectrum.com/big deal for full details. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Score great savings on your bathroom update during Menards Super Sale. Check out our great selection of shower heads from Waterpik. They have innovative, sleek designs with Power Pulse Therapeutic Massage. Enjoy a better shower experience today with Waterpik. Right now, pick up a matte black Dual Dock 7-spray setting shower head for $49.99. Check out this and other great deals going on now during Menards Super Sale. Prices good through February 11th.
Save big money at Menards.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. So Katie Wu on Twitter. I'm just going to keep calling it Twitter. I don't care if it's X or
I'm with you.
Y or Z.
Change it.
How confident are you that the Cardinals will continue being a competitive franchise? And she gave you some options, Carey. She said very confident, somewhat confident, unsure, not very confident, or not confident at all. Oh, boy, here comes the glasses. He's putting the glasses on.
Well,
the rose.
We talked about
glasses.
this earlier, and you have to be very confident. What division do they play in, Anthony?
The worst.
And what did you text us last week about this division? It's easy when 3 teams in your division don't even try. That's what you texted us.
I did, and I meant it.
I know. And so, therefore, you should be very confident in your 2024 St. Louis Cardinals. We got Sonny Gray. You got Kyle Gibson. You got Lance Lynn. Jordan Walker going into the second. Mason Wynn playing shortstop. You know what I like? I'd like to see him come out and do a flip like Ozzie Smith did all those years.
Wow.
That would be ideal. That way we know he is definitely your shortstop of the future. Everyday shortstop. I love it.
You wouldn't know that anyways?
Yeah, it would be an exclamation point for me, Anthony. You see where I'm at? I love it. Stick the landing.
I can see you.
Yeah. We love our Cardinals in 2024, and we're excited. Now,
Carey
that being said,
is now taking off the rose-colored glasses.
Those pitchers led the league in top 5 in hits last year, and they brought them all here. So we'll see how well it goes.
Do you want to hear what?
Sure. What did Katie say?
All right. Well, it's not what Katie said. It's what you said, Cardinals Nation. So the response that drew the fewest amount of responses, I guess, not confident at all.
Nice.
2.80%.
More than
2.8%.
There's a lot of those glasses around town.
Yeah. We'll go from top to bottom here. All right. Working our way toward the most popular response. Again, how confident are you that the Cardinals will continue to be a competitive franchise? 15.8% said not very confident. So kind of the worst options were the lowest.
Okay.
17.7%, very confident. There goes the top option. 25.9%, unsure. That's your middle option. Your middle option was the second one. The most popular response from Katie Woo's little experiment here was somewhat confident at 37.8%. So the majority of Cardinal Nation is somewhat confident that the Cardinals will continue to be a competitive franchise. Honestly, guys, it makes sense given what Carey, especially when he's donning those glasses, continues to say. Yeah. Which is that if you're just viewing this from the prism of playing and winning the NL Central, which is an absolute joke, in my opinion, with only 1 to 2 teams really competing and trying every year, if you're just viewing it from that, I can understand why people would be somewhat confident. If that's what competitive is, and you win your division, I mean, it's kind of hard to knock.
You can only
the competitive aspect
win
of
the
that.
division that you're in, Anthony.
I can understand why people would be somewhat confident.
They should be.
Do you?
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
By all means.
No.
I have a question for you.
I do too. If Katie Woo said, all right, I'm going to throw out a different poll, and it says, will your Cardinals make a deep postseason run or play for an NL pennant, would the most popular response be no blanking way?
Could you repeat that question again, sir?
Will the Cardinals make a deep postseason run?
Well, they're the St. Louis Cardinals. How many championships do they have? How many championships?
Like
number 2.
It's like our guy BT is back.
In all of baseball and championships. Of course, the standard is championships. You understand? When you have, there's only one, that organization pays for theirs. They don't even have a budget. We spend our money correctly. We spend our money right. We bring the right players in to do the things that need to be done, and we have the expectation of winning championships. We're in the Central Division, the NL Central at that. Meaning it is all for the taking. It's right there in front of us. I can see it right through these glasses, Anthony. Can't you see it? Do you need a pair?
We're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, though. I appreciate the offer.
Not a problem.
Yeah. All right. Glad we cleared that up. Why don't we get our sports six-pack next? If you got a question for us, including one for Carey, either Carey Davis or the version that has got his rose-colored glasses on.
That's KD.
That's KD.
Established that last week.
Okay, KD. You can text us right now via the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Again, the Sports Six-Pack next.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
5:03, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We're Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Here is Andrew Marsh with your questions for the Sports Six-Pack.
Question number 1.
Alrighty, from the 309. If a terrible team like the Royals are willing to lock down a star young player, why are the Cards hesitant to? How much does Walker have left to prove?
I think, that's a very good question, first of all. I think if you're the Cardinals, it makes sense to lock down your stars sooner rather than later, assuming that you believe that they are the stars that they have told us that they will be. Mm-hmm. We've been told that Jordan Walker is going to be that. We've been told that Mason Wynn is a generational type of talent with his ability to play shortstop. I think Nolan Gorman is going to be a really good player if he stays healthy, if his back is not an issue. And he hits 30 to 35 home runs. There's talent on this team. To me, it makes sense to do so because it eliminates some issues down the road. And the issues being spending more money, which we know that they don't necessarily want to do.
If you want some comparisons, I've got them. Now, Jordan Walker didn't play in as many games. Carey, you could talk about this because this is an aspect of Jordan Walker's rookie season that really takes you off. But he didn't play in as many games as Bobby Witt Jr. But here's some of the numbers. Bobby Witt Jr. a year ago, 150 games, 632 plate appearances. I'll just go over some of the highlights. He hit 20 home runs. He drove in 80. He stole 30 bases.
That was in 22.
Yes, his rookie year.
Yep.
He hit 254, slugged 428, OPS of 722, and OPS plus of 102. Mm-hmm. He finished 4th in Rookie of the Year voting. Now, Jordan Walker, unfortunately, because of being sent down, he only played in 117 games, so I do factor that in. Mm-hmm. And again, I'll just read off the numbers to you. He had 16 home runs, 51 driven in, 7 stolen bases. He hit 276 with a 445 slug, a 787 OPS, and a 114 OPS plus. Now, could those numbers have improved had he played 150 games? Absolutely.
Right.
Could they have also evened out a little bit more? Yeah, they could have. Bobby Witt Jr. last year, in his second year, he finished 7th in the MVP voting. He had 11 triples. He had 30 home runs. So he had 10 more home runs than he had as a rookie. Drove in 16 more runs. He stole 49 bases. He slugged 495, OPS 813, and 120 plus. He improved in every key offensive statistic category. I don't think there's anything wrong with watching what Jordan Walker does in his second year, watching what he does for 150 plus games, and then making an assessment. How much more does he have to prove? He had an excellent rookie season last year. Let's see him take the next step. Bobby Witt Jr. too plays third base. And somebody that could play shortstop. There's that factor as well. Now, Jordan Walker, it's not his fault that he's playing the outfield because that's where the Cardinals need him. So, but that's got to be factored in too. So, I don't think there's anything wrong with letting Jordan Walker play it out here in the second year, put up great numbers, and then we can revisit this conversation.
Question number 2.
All right, let's revisit this conversation in question number 2. If you had to choose one player to give a contract like that out, one of the Cardinal players, young guys, Jordan Walker or Nolan Gorman, which one are you giving it to?
Jordan Walker.
Same.
He profiles more as a complete player. Nolan Gorman does have the one aspect of he's a left-handed power bat, and those guys are rare. It's one of the reasons why I continue to say, hey, if you can hold on to him as opposed to giving him up in a trade, I would keep him. But Jordan Walker, at this point, profiles more as a complete player.
I agree, and I just can do more. Nolan Gorman, he the swing and miss. We talked about it. He's probably Kyle Schwarber. Like if he pans out to be as good as Kyle Schwarber, that's pretty damn good.
Absolutely.
But Kyle Schwarber bats around 210. 215.
If you're lucky.
It's just, he's going to have some holes in his swing. I think Jordan Walker is more of a complete player. He's not just a DH, which Nolan Gorman will probably primarily be a DH. And, just does a little bit more.
And let me say for the record, too, when it comes to Jordan Walker, if you think I'm knocking him at all, absolutely not. I expect him to be a better defender next year because he'll have almost a full season, or at least 117 games or so, playing in the outfield. It's not easy to play in the corner, to understand how the ball is going to bounce off the wall, not only the wall behind you, but the wall next to you, how the ball is going to play off the bat. Are you playing in right or left? Obviously, the ball path is going to be much different in either corner. Then go on the road and have 2 or 3 or 4 games to figure out the dimensions of that park as well. It takes a while. So I think he's going to be even better defensively. But that part of his game might take a little while as he makes this transition.
Question number 3.
From the 618 for Carey, why have we seen such a drop-off of the fullback position in the NFL? I realize it's a passing league now, but why are there not more fullback formations for extra protection? Is this just considered old-school football at this point?
Well, the 49ers have a fullback. He's a pretty good one. They use him, and he's able to do so many things. I think it's just, how football goes. I think at one point, the position just, everyone started using H-back or going to two tight end sets, and it just kind of phased its way out. Eventually, possibly, if you have more athletic players like the Ravens have a big guy who's a lineman playing fullback. But the 49ers have Kyle Juszczyk, who is a Swiss Army knife. He can do a lot of things from that position, catches well out of the backfield, does all of the things that you would want a skilled player to do. So it just depends. I'm hoping it'll come back. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you would think it would. Somebody's got to. You got to zig when everybody else is zagging at some point, right?
Maybe.
But Carey, you kind of touched upon. In my opinion, you got a guy out there that is typically not the best pass catcher. Juszczyk is one of the guys that can catch.
Yep.
But if you can replace him with somebody that you can line up in the slot that is fast and you can catch and you can add another dimension and challenge the defense more than what the fullback can, and you could spread out the defense and make them play, the entire length of the field. I think that's why we've seen the fullback go by the wayside.
Yeah.
Question number 4.
But you're still important, Carey.
Thank you.
To all of us.
Appreciate that.
Guys, it looks like Droid from the Snake Pit got a new controller that he is very excited about. Now, I'm not sure if that is a gaming controller or one for your TV. I'm assuming it's a gaming.
Yeah.
By the way, do you guys say for a TV remote, do you say a controller or do you say remote? What do you say? I know some people say different things.
Remote control.
Yeah.
Remote control?
Yeah.
Remote control.
Where's the remote control?
You don't say, where's the controller?
Nah. I said, where's the remote?
I'll say, where's the remote?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Anyways, when you were a child, what do I say?
Yeah.
I think it depends. It depends on who I'm with. Like, I have family members that say certain things that, like Washington, like there's no R in Washington.
Yeah.
But I'll say it when I'm around them. Like, my accent turns a little bit different when I'm around these people. So, yeah, I'll say, like, controller, just because that's kind of what we said growing up, but if I'm around normal people, no slight to my family, I'll say remote,
Yeah.
Shout out to my family, though. I love them.
Shout out.
Yeah.
You guys ever do that, though? You guys ever start saying, like, different things when you're around different family members? Like, you start speaking a different way?
Sometimes how you speak changes depending on who you're around.
I can see it happen very easily.
But anyways, not that Droid is a child, but was there anything when you were younger that you got as a child that made you just like, yes, I've been waiting for this?
Yeah,
I can't believe it's here now.
I think like the original PlayStation when that puppy came out, I was pretty fired up.
For me, I will never forget this. It was like a mini air hockey table. Really,
nice.
But it was like
this is it. This is the greatest day ever.
Like 10 years old, 9 to 10. yes!
Did you ever get anything when you were a kid, though, where you're like, what the hell is this?
Anytime you get socks.
Underwear.
You don't realize until you become an adult how important that is.
Yep.
But when you open a package and it's socks.
Why did you even wrap these? Yeah, it's always. I mean, I got 3 kids now. Same deal. As soon as they get clothes, man, you can tell they just.
Where's the toy?
They're devastated.
Yeah.
They want to move on quickly. They don't want to hold up the clothes.
They don't care.
They don't want anything to do with said clothes, but they need them.
Question number 5.
Have other NL Central teams tried to follow the Cardinals model, and that's why every team is just mid?
I gotta ask. Okay, we gotta get more into that then, because I got some follow-up questions there for the texter or Marsh, whoever posed that. So we'll talk about it next on 101 ESPN. Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum Band, they're doing it again. They've got great deals throughout the month of February. Select 2024 Nissan Pathfinders, for example. And man, the Pathfinders, they're such a sweet vehicle. 0% APR for 36 months. They've also got options for 60 months and 72 months. Financing couldn't come at a better time, too, with the rates are where they are. Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, they've got the best financing. They got the best financing options for you. But if you're not in the market for a new Nissan Pathfinder, how about a 2024 Nissan Altima? If you're looking for a Rogue, they've got plenty of Rogues that in different makes and not makes and models, different colors, different options for you. Some are really souped up, some are a little bit more basic. But the point is, they've got over 700 vehicles on their lot in Herculaneum. It's one spot, one dealership. So when you head to autocentersnissan.com, look at what they have, check out some of the deals. If you're not in the market for Nissans, they've got other pre-owned vehicles that have different makes and models, trucks, vans, cars, whatever you're looking for. But start at autocentersnissan.com, peruse the selection, then go down there and take the test drive. You'll be blown away by the customer service. You'll be blown away by the financing options and how they've got financing options for everyone at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. So we got a question in our sports six-pack that we wanted to carry over because, quite frankly, I just need more details. So, Marsh, go ahead and read that off, and then my follow-up question would be, all right, now what do you think it means ultimately?
All right, here is the question. Have other NL Central teams tried to follow the Cardinals model, and that's why every team is just mid?
Okay, so what do you think? I'm asking you as if you wrote the question, Marsh, which you didn't. But are we thinking the model being what?
Just get in.
I feel like that is the model.
Okay, so the philosophy is just get in.
Don't have to pay like a ton, you know.
I don't think. Well, okay, so let's break it down then. Let's go team by team. The Pittsburgh Pirates are absolutely not trying.
No.
They're not trying to field a competitive team. They're not trying to spend $1 more than they have to. They are flat out in Major League Baseball to reap in whatever the ownership group is, to reap in any money that they can acquire from the luxury tax and call it a day. So when it comes to the Pittsburgh Pirates, they're not trying.
They have a few guys coming up, though.
My God, they should. They're drafting in the top 5 every year.
They got Paul Skeens.
Every once in a while, enough of those guys are selected properly. They come together. They have a season like they did, what was it, 11 or 12?
Mm-hmm.
13. 13?
Yeah, they trade everyone eventually.
13. You're like, this is incredible. The Pirates are back, baby. And all those guys get shipped out.
Do you think those conversations are like, man, I wonder what team I'm going to sign with in the offseason?
I mean, if you're Garrett Cole, you're like, please send me somewhere that I can go and, you know.
Do you remember the trade? They traded Tyler Glasnow for Chris Archer. Remember how bad of a trade that was? That was terrible.
It absolutely was.
Why would they do that?
I mean, they
told you.
They had Garrett Cole. They had Tyler Glasnow. They had
win.
Who?
I said they're not there to win.
Oh, I thought you said Derek Wynn. I'm like, who's Derek Wynn?
They have a guy inside their front office. All right, guys, I think I got it. I think I know how we can win the division. What was that? Oh, I'm fired?
Oh, okay. What's your name, Bill? Yeah, Bill. Pack up your
mouth.
Pack up your crap and get out. Okay.
Not in our organization.
Not going to validate your parking either. Get out. So that's the Pirates. If you move to the Reds, same idea, yet enough of their draft picks have now come up to make the team exciting. But let's not put the Cincinnati Reds colored glasses on thinking that they somehow built a contender. They had enough high draft picks for being lousy year after year. And look, they at least scouted well.
Oh, you're saying if we trade for a pitcher, we might be a playoff team?
Get out of here. This Bill from the Pirates. He got rehired by Cincinnati. Who is this guy?
Where'd you come from?
But that's the Reds.
We're bringing him in now.
Right. Yeah. They had the one year where they brought in, who'd they bring in? Sonny Gray, and they brought in Trevor Bauer, and they're like, oh, look at the Reds. They're going to kind of try. And then after that, one of the owners is like, hey, we don't have to try. What else you watching? You gonna watch the Bengals?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And then Joe Burrow came.
Yeah, we'll watch the Bengals.
So that's the Reds, right? Then you get to the Milwaukee Brewers, who paid Christian Yelich and have now had to get rid of all the other players that are good that could eventually make a lot of money. Exhibit A would be Josh Hader.
Yeah.
Exhibit B would be the recently traded Corbin Burns.
And now Willy Adames is being shopped.
There you go. Willy Adames would be your next one. So you have the Brewers, who are also not trying. And then the Cubs.
What you got?
I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Maybe if we bring in a manager, we'll win more games.
Yeah. I mean, why not bring back Cody Bellinger?
That might have made more sense.
A remarkable season for him. Maybe they still will.
He's still out there.
The Cubs, they might be lying in the weeds. Like they might be a wolf in sheep clothing here. I don't know. I didn't think they were necessarily trying a year ago, but then they brought in, was it last year or 2 years ago? It was 2 years ago, and they brought in Marcus Stroman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was weird. And then, Seiya Suzuki, they made a play for him. The Cubs are kind of, they're either waiting to strike and then they're going to, bring in somebody big when they have things aligned properly. But the Cubs are like the mixture of, I don't know if I trust you.
What are they waiting on? Like, what is the Cody Bellinger he signed as a free agent and had a hell of a year. He signed a 1-year deal because we were talking about possibly him coming here, right? Why wouldn't you re-sign him if he played as well as he did last year?
I don't know.
What are you waiting on?
Maybe his price tag is too much, and the Cubs are uncomfortable.
It ain't going to go down.
Is it? It will. It will if nobody else is going to sign
to spring training.
I mean, think about it. So you're only worth as a free agent what a team is willing to pay you.
Correct.
So you could say I'm worth $250 million over X amount of years, but if there's no market for you, then no, you're not. You could say you're worth $175 million over a certain amount of years, and your market again says no, you're not. Until you get to the point where you're like, okay, here's what multiple teams are interested in you for, and then you get to decide whether or not you want to sign a multi-year deal for less than what you thought you were going to make, or you just go to another 1-year deal. Because teams are willing to pay a little bit more for a 1-year deal because it's only a 1-year commitment.
Yeah, I wonder if I would assume that they're in a retool. I think we could all say, yeah, this team is in a retool. I wonder if paying a guy like that a ton of money is the right move or the smart move when you're in a retool. I wonder if that ends up sort of making the books a little sketchy, right? Because you don't want to pay this guy if you're in a retool and him suck because he had one good year playing at Wrigley Field where the ball flies out because of the wind, or sometimes it doesn't.
He was a really good player prior to he got injured or was dealing with some injuries. His first couple of years, he was really good.
He was a very good player for the Dodgers early on. He was not late. The
last couple of years before
the Cubs, was not.
Like, would you spend that kind of money on Cody Bellinger, or would you rather wait, have some guys that are coming up, and then pay those guys, and then have a sustained run?
I think if I'm the Cubs, I'd be more willing to pay it because he did it in our uniform, in our stadium. He apparently was a great clubhouse guy. He felt comfortable there. Everything clicked for him there. So I saw it. If I'm the Cubs, I saw it there. If I'm another team, maybe not. Because now I'm weighing in his previous couple of years with the Dodgers too. Yeah. And I'm saying, what Cody Bellinger am I going to get? If you're the Cubs, I think it's a little bit different.
And if you're the Cardinals, you just sit by and wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
Not your problem.
Well, maybe that's what every other team's doing, and that's why they're all mid. Right? Going back to the question.
Somebody had to win the division.
I just broke this down. Pirates not trying. Reds not trying, but they've got enough draft picks that came about. Milwaukee Brewers definitely not trying. You continue to see that, and the Cubs might be trying.
Are the Cardinals trying?
Yes.
Trying to do what?
Win the division.
Okay. So as long as we are all on the same page here.
Oh, we are not on the same page.
You just don't agree with it. But
I don't agree with that philosophy.
But you have bought into that is what they are doing.
Carey, I didn't even have to buy in. I was right there with you, man. Well, then that's what you've been waiting for. Yeah, I admit that.
You just don't agree that that's the right way to go about business.
Well, then how embarrassing is it that all those teams that you just mentioned that are not trying, you were worse than all of them last season?
That's the problem. That's why Cardinal fans are losing their bleep.
You just named off at least three teams that are terrible, or at least maybe not terrible.
No, you said it right.
Okay, they're terrible.
The Brewers won 92 games. The Cubs won 83. We think the Cubs had this remarkable season. They won 83 games.
That's because you lost 91.
It looks 4 games above 500. Looks pretty remarkable.
That's probably the real question. How does that happen? How are you, if you're the Cardinals, and I think that's the frustration that you're seeing from Cardinal fans, it got so bad in a division that is not great, in a division that you are expected to win every single year. And I hate to say this because as a coach, as a former player, just by showing up, that seems to be because you have better players, you have a better structure, you have a better organization, you have longevity better than these other organizations have or have had. The Cardinal way should win you more games than you lose. But last year, it did not work in that manner. And what was the cause of it? You can say, it was the pitching. It was so much more, in my opinion, it was just a cluster from top to bottom. And when you look around and try to figure out what could have been done differently, there are so many examples of things that could have been done differently, and they were not. And that's why the Cardinals were frustrated.
Well, you can only go up from here.
Oh, boy. For those in the snake pit, you're seeing the Marshes now got the glasses on.
There's a ton of optimism here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Can't finish the last 2 years in a row.
No, they won't. But let's just summarize last year, okay? The pitching was much worse, significantly worse than they thought. The offense was worse than what they thought it was going to be. The season got away pretty quickly for them. The second half was a play out the stretch moment for them.
It felt like the second half they weren't trying, though. And
look at some of those lineups at the end of the year.
Exactly. You would have been more like we had Army on last week, and we talked about the difference between Army and Mo. Army gives it to you directly. You might not like it. Yeah. You might not agree with it, but it's going to be honest. It's going to be open. And I feel like when you're talking about Mo, sometimes it doesn't feel that way. And I think the frustration for Cardinal fans is that you watched that team that they put out there later in the season. Some of those guys you had never even heard of. And the frustration for Cardinals fans is you want Cardinal fans to believe that you're still trying to win. Mm-hmm. That's not. That can't be the truth.
It was a learning year.
Oh, boy. All right. Let's get to our biggest question of the day next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues will be back in action on Saturday, taking on the Buffalo Sabres with the pregame starting at 11. Puck drop is at 12. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. They'll also take on the Montreal Canadiens on Sunday. Same time, pregame starting at 11, puck drop at 12. And then after that, we'll have Super Bowl 58 for you as the Chiefs will take on the 49ers. We talked some NFL today. We've talked some Cardinals baseball. We also talked with Darrius Shepherd of your St. Louis Battlehawks. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Head to the podcast page. You'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have our biggest question of the day coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
All right, that's right. Time for the biggest question of the day here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh.
All right, guys, we had a conversation earlier talking about retool and how long a retool would take. We got a question from the Snake Pit, thanks to Gator Bait, asking the question, what's the difference between a retool and a rebuild? Is there one?
Well, for me, the rebuild is stripping it down to the studs. It's if they were to rebuild, there would probably be Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, and Colton Parayko. And everybody else you would if Parayko. Maybe you decided, you could get something for Parayko. It would be, maybe a few other guys, or Braden Shin. You wouldn't have as many pieces that you have right now. And a retool for me is you got rid of the expiring contracts last year, and you are looking to, add to that. They did that via draft. They've got some guys that they drafted a few years back that are preparing or close to being ready. And so I think that's the difference. Just the amount of players that are, I think the names that are still here in a retool versus a rebuild. You're like, who the hell are these guys? Maybe the Cardinals were rebuilding last year. Because they had, who the hell are some of these guys?
Think so, Carey.
Juniel Kiricuto and Taylor Motter played a lot of time.
Nope, that wasn't the plan.
Richie Palacios, we love you. We're going to miss you. You're going to be good next year.
Yeah, real good.
Yeah, real good. Mm-hmm. It's some of the names. Maybe we didn't realize it was a rebuild with the names that were. You don't think? No. That's good. Just popped in my. You have names you don't know playing every day.
That wasn't the design.
Well, it was rebuild-ish.
The Cardinals are in a retool. They were in a retool too.
Well, that to
me
is
did the same thing that the Blues did, right? They traded off the expiring contracts.
That didn't work out well.
Carey, you and I are in lockstep on this. A rebuild is realizing that you have come to the end of whatever era it is. You say era and you think, well, they never had a championship era. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but every team that's trying has a 3 to 5 year window where they say this group of players, this is the group that we're building with to win a championship or at least compete for one.
Right.
3 to 5 years. And you come to the end of the 5 years, maybe even push it to 6, and you realize it's not going to happen. And you don't want to double down, triple down on that exact group, so you make big time decisions to tear the thing down. Mm-hmm. You trade not only the expiring contracts, but you trade guys that have term for prospects or for draft picks that will set you up for the next 3 to 5 years.
Right.
That is a rebuild. It's really dealing guys that have term left on their deal.
Yeah.
Multiple years left on their deal. Because they're going to fetch you the most. So when you make that decision, you know that you're not going to be competitive the following year.
Right.
Retool, look what the Blues did, look what the Cardinals did. Nolan Arenado was not dealt last year. Goldschmidt was not dealt. And I'm not saying they would have been dealt or they even would have waived their no-trade clause. But those guys didn't have expiring contracts. Flaherty, Montgomery. Who else? Stratton was dealt. I'm missing somebody.
Cabrera.
Cabrera was dealt. Jordan Hicks was dealt.
Jordan Hicks.
I might be missing somebody else, but those are the guys. Expiring deals. Those are the easy sells.
Yeah.
That's a retool. Jordan Hicks is not going to help us win a championship this year. Probably not going to help us win a championship next year. Don't know if we're going to resign him. We need to retool with his roster spot. So let's get something. Let's get some future assets for these expiring deals, and we'll regroup in the offseason. That's what the Blues did. That's what the Cardinals did. That's a retool to me. Rebuild, you're going to have to tear that thing down.
It takes a little longer.
And sometimes through the contracts, look at so this would apply to the Blues. Sometimes the contracts will also dictate whether or not it's going to be a retool or a rebuild. Take, for example, Torrey Krug. Torrey Krug was like, no, I'm not, allegedly, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to sign off, at least on the deal that could have been on the table this offseason. Other guys probably had contracts that you couldn't move, at least for the compensation that you're hoping for. You might have gotten it, yeah, we'll take them, but you're going to take half the contract. No, thank you. That doesn't do anything for me. So if the contracts also dictate whether or not you're going to move on from a player easily, that I think also goes into retool rebuild.
I agree.
All right, there you go. Hopefully it clarifies that. I guess there's no real defined answer to it. It's just whatever you think it is. So
what's better though?
It depends.
Depends on your situation.
Exactly. It absolutely depends on the situation. I think the Blues did it right. I think the Cardinals did it right. What are you doing there, Carey? Which part of that did you disagree with?
I don't know, man. Well, we got to see what the Cardinals look like in 24. Because if it doesn't go well, if it goes in the same manner in which it did last year, Arenado and Goldie at the trade deadline, are you moving those guys?
I would have entertained trading Goldie this past year if he was up for it, because I think he could have fetched you something significant with a year left on his deal. But I don't know if he'd be willing to move. I think he likes being here, and I think the Cardinals love him. So
I would almost guarantee that they'd give him a new contract before they trade him.
I would lean that way too.
Them thinking that he is part of the solution rather than the problem. Sure. And I don't think he's a problem.
Yeah. But he's also, 37 years old. At some point, the production's going to drop off. And you'd rather trade a player 1 year too soon than 1 year too late.
Agreed.
So I brought that up, and people thought I was crazy.
Well, you are.
I am, though. Just not for that. Right. For that. Yeah, that actually made some sense for once. But yeah. All right. This Friday morning, help heat up St. Louis during the 24th annual Hardee's Rise and Shine fundraiser. Stop by any participating Hardee's in the bi-state area this Friday morning and grab a sausage biscuit or egg biscuit for just $1. 100% of the proceeds of all funds collected will help heat up St. Louis, supporting people in need in both Missouri and Illinois. That's this Friday morning at any participating Hardee's. Find more info at 101ESPN.com. Find more info at 101ESPN.com. Bet the board, 3 stars, criticisms, compliments next. If you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast at 101ESPN.com or your 101 ESPN mobile app, brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Had a fun day today.
Yes.
I tried not to pass out.
You did a good job.
Throw up.
You one point I did look over there. It looked like it was.
I did one of these.
He was like,
I kind of felt a couple of times I did one of these. I've been a little under the weather. This one got me. That's why I missed most of last week. But yeah, I'm ready to go, guys.
You're back.
Totally ready to go. Good to go.
Talking yourself into
fine.
it? Okay.
Yep. Anyways, talked about the Super Bowl. Had a great conversation with Darrius Shepherd of the Battlehawks.
Rooting for him, rooting for them.
Yeah, so the season schedule was released for the Battlehawks, and they're going to take on their XFL. Some of their XFL parts. Some of them didn't make it. The XFL teams that made it this year, as well as some USFL teams in the upcoming UFL League.
And by the way, official now that the Vipers no longer, not that it was official today, but the Vipers, I mean, big rivalry there with the Battlehawks, and they're not a team anymore. So
not much of a rivalry if your team can't sustain itself.
Exactly.
You feel that way.
Yeah. Sorry about your luck there, Vipers. We're sorry, Vipers. How'd you feel that way? Also talked about your Redbirds a couple of times throughout the course of the show today.
Our Redbirds, Anthony.
Carey donned the glasses when he was talking up your Cardinals.
Your division-winning St. Louis Cardinals.
How do those feel? Nice and tight?
They are.
Good.
They squeeze you a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Make you
squeeze
lose
some
focus.
of the common sense out of you.
Yeah. Good.
But here we are, 2024.
Yep. All right, guys, let's bet the board here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Yeah, we got to defend our Grapefruit League championship.
Yeah.
We'll do that here in a few months.
You know,
or not a few months, but it's coming up here soon.
Right around the corner.
If you guys are just going to ask me whether or not I think the Cardinals
Back-to-back.
will defend their crown there, I say absolutely.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Why wouldn't they?
This team's a spring training team,
Yes.
Anthony.
I think when...
Are you serious?
I think if you're talking about the Grapefruit League, sign me up.
I mean, this team was unbelievable
Championship.
last year.
Championship.
In the Grapefruit League. Got to defend it.
No doubt. All right, let's bet the board here. How'd I do the couple of days? Not great?
I think you did great.
Okay.
Well, you lost. I know you lost to me. The last one you had was the Illini versus Ohio State.
I didn't even check. Did they lose?
Oh, yeah.
Ohio State lost?
Ohio State lost.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you finished
Good.
last.
We already have new
sorry.
people for this next month.
Yeah.
We moved
That's
on.
right. It is a new month. Holy smokes.
So, Anthony, do you want to know who is representing you?
Yes, I hope I got picked last. I really
did.
do.
Yeah, you did. I mean, it wasn't even. It wasn't even.
Even close. Yeah,
not even
I'm sorry.
close.
Whoever got paired with me, I apologize.
Yeah, you ready to hear who it is?
Yeah.
Do you remember Bill from the Gauntlet last year, who I beat
Wild's Bill
on his birthday?
Oh yeah, Bill.
That's your
my guy.
Yeah. You and Bill.
I'm fired up for that. Good. Bill and I were an arranged marriage. I'm excited for this. Here we go.
Is he?
No, probably not. No, not at all. Poor guy.
All four of us, though, we went 0 for 4.
Good.
On Friday.
Good.
Where are we at right now? That was the first one, wasn't
That
it?
was the first one.
All right.
We had a tiebreaker between him and Jamie on the first
How'd
day
you guys
of February.
Jamie won.
Oh. They had to pick basketball, though.
Oh, yeah, because there's no hockey.
No hockey. So Jamie won.
So Jamie then would go first then, right?
He
then
would. He would. Then it would be me, and then it would be Carey, and then you.
Yeah.
And by
good.
the way,
I'm fired up.
going over our picks from last week, Jamie had Suns minus 3.5. I think they got smoked. Grizzlies, that was yours. You had them at plus 8.5. They got smoked.
Needed about 18.5.
Yeah, the Warriors and Grizzlies on the over actually almost hit. It didn't.
It was like 3 points below.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies Warriors.
Yeah.
I had Quinnipiac men's basketball for some reason.
Yeah, you did.
At minus 6.5, and they won by 6.
Oh, no.
Over Manhattan.
Oh, the Manhattan.
Those guys.
Stinks. They got you.
Oh, man.
All right. So what, do we know Jamie's pick, or are we picking for him?
We'll pick for him.
I think we might have to pick for him.
I saw you send out the text.
I didn't respond.
Didn't respond. Okay, good for him.
Yep. He's at the beach.
Go ahead.
Probably getting ready for a nice meal.
Should we give him? You know what team he played for that he loves is the New York Islanders.
They have a game?
Yeah.
They play tonight against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Do they?
Yeah. Want to give him the Islanders at plus 128? By the way, this happens if you don't respond.
Sure. I like that.
All right.
Good for him.
Yeah, all right.
We'll do that.
I mean, it's his former team, the New York Islanders.
What else could go wrong?
The team that I believe he played forward on, or was it the Bruins? Either way, he's taking the Islanders tonight.
And you know what? They're going up against the Maple Leafs, who are
tired, old,
dirty.
Sure.
Yeah, just hosted the All-Star game. A lot of emotions.
Distracted. Yeah. We're giving him a good pick.
That's a good pick.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Marsh, go ahead.
I'm going to go with Austin Reeves over 5.5 assists tonight.
Okay.
Oh man, I was just gonna go Warriors straight up over the Brooklyn Nets. I think I'm gonna do that. Money line. Give me Golden State.
What's the point spread there, Carey?
-1.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's a pick 'em.
What's the point spread? They're -8. I don't think the money line counts. All right. Give me the Colorado Avalanche tonight against the New York Rangers. Avs have had some good success against the Rangers. They've won 7 out of their last 10 overall coming into this matchup. So give me the Avs tonight on the road. There's your bet the board picks. Marsh?
Yeah.
Go for it.
We got a text from John Fozaylock. Defending our Grapefruit League championship is priority number 1. I love it. I love
John, that makes a lot of sense.
You got it.
I love the mindset that this team is rolling with heading into the 2024 season.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's what we did. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
They played well last season, guys. That's a lot of excitement.
Oh, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As it will be for the 2024 season.
Okay.
We got some text messages talking about what certain people named their TV remote. We have the 618 saying, "Hey guys, my mom calls it a TV remote, the Selector."
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
The Selector
Sounds like
Never
a
heard that
Netflix
one.
movie. The Selector.
Probably starring our guy Reacher. Probably.
From the 314, it's a clicker.
I've heard clicker a lot. I heard clicker a lot growing up. Yep.
And then this one's interesting. From the 314, my wife calls the remote the buttons.
Oh.
That's interesting. I mean, there are buttons on there.
I can't find my buttons. Where's the buttons?
Yeah,
I would be confused.
Yeah.
I would be so confused.
It gets confusing.
What are you looking for? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Marsh, read them 3 stars. Let's get out of here.
All right, sounds great. Our 3rd star of the day goes to the Snake Pit in their future Battlehawks tailgate. They were talking about having a tailgate.
Excellent.
This upcoming season, so they get a star for that. Our 2nd star of the day goes to our friend Bill, not Wild Bill, but Bill, who got fired by all of the NL Central teams.
Poor Bill.
Popped right up again.
You know what his issue was? He was trying.
He was trying too hard.
Gotta come to St. Louis.
Yeah.
They'll hire him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like taking former employees and putting them right in the front office.
Absolutely.
So shout out Bill. And our 1st star of the day who joined us right here in studio of your St. Louis Battlehawks, Darrius Shepherd.
Yeah, Darrius Shepherd.
Pretty good. Really good.
Absolutely. We're fired up for it. And you could be fired up for tomorrow's show. We'll be back tomorrow, 2 to 6. So we'll talk plenty of Cards and Blues and Super Bowl and all that fun stuff. I guess I should just say sports. Sports tomorrow. Jamie, he's off all week. He's in Mexico. He's enjoying the Blues being off, and we welcome him back next Monday. We have got some instant replay action coming up for you right now. For Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, I'm Anthony Stalter. We appreciate everybody listening and watching throughout the course of the show today. This has been the Fast Lane. See ya.